If Love and Gogi is wrong, I don't want to be right.
What would Socrates say to that?
It tickles my fancy.
Okay.
Goosies.
I don't have hair.
Oof.
You got Marcos.
That's not.
Wait.
Yeah,
That's true. You do got me.
Get over here, Marcos. Let me look at you.
They don't want it.
Tobin Leroy, ready to deploy. Had to hit her with a little journalism, but that was a decoy. Better about me, boy. Okay, Leroy and Tobin, hold to the show, man. Still to the sauce with the show, and till then his half moon open. Sometimes go taste like a snowman. No proof I'm a lie about a motor. No proof. Like I always wanted him, I never hated him, I never traded him, and if I did, I never ever traded him. You know what is a star? Like another city, the driver's side floor. Just to get large, so many more. 10 in the more, never a bar. 8, 10 in the more, 2 to the P. Nothing to you, but it's something to me. Handsome as ever, and cute as can be. You can watch us on YouTube and view for free. Ay. This one time for the Twitch. This one time for the text. This one time for the phone line. Whole time, wonder what they gonna do next.
You know, I just wish you guys would stop the quibbling.
Morning, everybody. Tobin and Leroy here with you, 560 WQAM. Leroy will be here in just a little bit. Shortened show today, just off the bat for everybody, just so you know. I know we've had a little bit of a weird week, especially for our radio audience, because our transmitter's been broken for 2 shows.
You know,
now today we're shortened. What?
I heard Joe Rose these past couple days in the morning just fine. I just realized that. I've been listening on 560 on the way.
Oh no, they did it during our show.
Oh,
they did the fixes during our show. No one's going out to the Everglades to fix something at 6 a.m. though, dude.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
It's always gonna get done at our time, but yeah. So and then today we got a company party. So we're out of this puppy halfway through. Some of you may call us Panthers cowards because the Panthers lost last night. Frustrating game. My Panthers confidence is always sky high, and there was never not a point, even when they were down 1-0, and then Paul Maurice just dressed them up and down and was just like, hey, a lot of expletives. We'll get to his comments here in just a bit. And then slowly after that, the Bruins, they get a gift, which is fine. I'm not going to whine about it. They go up 2-1. They're going to sit there the entire time. Ooh, Keith O'Malley, chowder, boo. And then all of a sudden, it's like, but when it goes for that, crickets. So
not one peep, dude.
I don't want to hear it the rest of the series.
Yep.
You guys are allowed to do whatever you want to Sergei Bobrovsky. We moved on. I still thought the Cats had plenty of opportunities. Swayman was incredible yesterday. And it just a killer. Reinhart right on the doorstep. The shot that he's hit more than anybody else in the league this year, the shot that he specializes in right there. And he got stopped. He got turned away cold. And the Panthers are unable to put on the top hats and monocles. And we, unfortunately for Will Manso, he has to go back up to Boston and sit behind that pillar for another game.
Oh, yeah. Good luck. Good luck, Will.
But on the counter side, Will, lucky pillar.
Oh, yeah, that's
lucky
true.
Pillar. So don't worry about it. You know, maybe this is where the heartbreak in Boston is going to be that much sweeter that they have to go and watch it in their own building. That's the way that you have to look at it. But I genuinely felt confident the entire time, and I thought, man, really after Paul Maurice's dress down of the Panthers and giving them every expletive in the book, which was just fantastic, by the way. I love the fact that he did that in the middle of a TV timeout. He goes, now's the time. Now's the time. We're down 1-0. Enough nonsense. Let me just mother bleep these guys up and down the bench. We, of course, remember him doing that last year. They flash back to last year where he called his players a bunch of B words. And he brings out the old card for this game. And immediately it pays dividends because the Panthers come out there and they score. Reinhart puts them on the board, but unfortunately, then thereafter you have the Bruins in that same period getting questionable goal. But it's okay. I'm not gonna dwell on it. I thought the Panthers had their opportunities. I thought they really turned the game from the middle of that second period on. I thought they were great at getting opportunities. Just their goalie was amazing. They were blocking shots. They play with a desperation. The Panthers could have matched. They jumped the Panthers right out of the gate. And so as we know with this team, I feel like everybody's in a pretty cool, calm position. I do not worry. This was my question yesterday to David, where I was like, do you feel like they need to close it out? Is there any pillar of like wanted to give Boston some hope or any of that type of stuff? I don't think that's going to happen with this team. I think that this is, there'll be a lot of coping up in New England today where they'll be like, well, we shouldn't have even lost the last game. We should be up 3-2. There's going to be a lot of that, but flat out, the Panthers have the capability, have the talent to go and get this last game in Boston. They've already shown their ability to win up there. It's not an intimidating place to play anymore. The Panthers will be fine, but it was a heartbreak. I really thought that they were going to come through there yesterday on many occasions and just never could crack the nut that was Boston in front of the net. So credit to the Bees. Even though they've spent all this time belly aching and then finally get a gift for their win. No bigs. We're good. Even Steven now going into a game 6 up in Beantown. Let's get to bigger matters, though. Headlines brought to you by the new Palmetto Ford Truck Supercenter. Why buy your truck at a car store? Palmetto Ford.
We know trucks.
Happy
Dude.
birthday, Lee.
Happy birthday,
Hey, the people cutting the trees. The people cutting the trees in the street going down the road didn't feel that way.
Oh,
They had the whole road blocked off while they were digging the old trees out of the water that they had cut. I'm like, yo, I gotta go. 1
Fire
second.
hazard?
It's got to
I
be.
don't know, but we only our development is only on one street,
I'm aware.
so they got these big trucks blocking. I couldn't get around them.
Very annoying. Very annoying. Didn't you tell me it was your birthday?
It's your birthday.
Nope, it wasn't.
Celebrate with anything? You doing anything?
I'm gonna go eat with the fam later. I'm gonna go to this thing. Hey, and I had to go to the bank and get some money for some chili peppers.
Oh,
We're
of course.
going to the casino.
Go to the Hard
We're going
Rock,
to the
baby.
casino. We're going to the Hard Rock.
To the Rock.
Look,
We're going
and
to the
I'm
Rock.
closer, so I'm gonna probably show up. I say I get there by 12:30. I'll be at the table by 12:30, and then I'll show up seasonably late and pull a Robbie, right? Because I don't know what they got going on over there, but it's not too far from the pie out table, so I'll be over there. And then I might, every time that I've done over under, I've won.
Are you doing
I don't
straight
do
up?
I don't do it every year.
What are you doing over
Right?
under for?
The season.
Oh, you're
The
doing
schedule comes
Dolphin
out.
season.
So yeah.
But the schedule's not going to be out by the time we're at the party.
No, but I think you still can
Yeah,
they
you can
might
still
have
bet.
some action.
I think it's. I don't. What is the Dolphin? Do you have any idea what it is, Marcos? What the over under is for the
I
Dolphins?
think they might be waiting for the schedule.
Hmm.
There you go. Sir.
If I had to guess, I would say 9.5.
Honestly, that's the same number I was going to guess as well.
No, 10. I
You
would
think
say
10?
As of a week ago, 9.5.
Oh, look at me. I'm a
Really?
gambler.
Yeah.
I'm a carnival buck.
Yes. I don't know. I mean, I don't know who you think has the highest in the league. The highest.
I would guess either Baltimore
would say
or
Philly.
Kansas City.
No, not
Oh,
necessarily.
They
I would say
milk
I would say
dude.
Philly.
Wow.
You got to go to a team that's been good in a bad division. You see what I'm saying?
looking
All
at
the other divisions have competition. Say what you want about Kansas City.
Yeah,
They
Baltimore
might
plays
have
Baltimore plays in a tough division. They had the most wins last year.
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
So who is it, Marcos?
DraftKings Sportsbook released this information, and I think the top 5, the Dolphins are just at 6. But I think the top 5, for the most part, anyone can agree on, except for one team that I'm a bit surprised by. Number 1 is Kansas City Chiefs at 11.5. San Francisco 49ers and Baltimore Ravens also have 11.5. And then at 10.5, where the Dolphins are, you have Atlanta Falcons.
That's the weak ass division Leroy was talking about, though.
But
Right.
That's why that is.
does Kirk
Right, that's
Cousins
why
make
that
that much
is.
of a
Like,
difference? You're a potentially 10-win team all of a sudden.
yes.
Well, they're going to be the first team to play two quarterbacks at the same time, so it's going to be they're going to
Hey,
revolutionize the
wait.
sport.
They're gonna have to play both of them to get one healthy one.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right? I mean, like, is that and if their over under is 11, was it 11, 10 and a half? 10 and a half?
You said 10 and a half, right?
Atlanta's?
Yes, 10.5.
Okay. If they're at 10 and a half, we must be missing something about Atlanta. Forget the division, right?
Yeah.
Like, what is the world starting to turn around on Kirk Cousins?
No, I think it's the
We've
division.
been trashing him for however many years, and he just make money.
He makes money, and then he disappoints you in primetime games. That's what he does. That's why Tua has to shake the lefty Kirk Cousins curse.
Ooh, I was gonna say
Why it has to.
Ooh.
It's part of the challenge this year.
Ooh,
By the way,
Marzo.
there is a NFL schedule report coming out right now. How about this?
Hmm.
The Steelers are going to host the Chiefs week 17 on Christmas Day, and that game will be exclusively on Netflix. Netflix is now in the game for the NFL.
Dang.
This is
You know what that
NFL. I mean,
means?
they
More
are just
money.
pimping out their games, dude.
Absolutely.
Margos,
Yes.
it's funny you should wear that shirt.
Why you have it?
Nike has come out with their PGA Tour, PGA Championship shoes,
Hmm?
and they look just like that shirt. Pull them up.
That's
Pull them up.
so kind
Nike
of you,
PGA,
Leroy. I appreciate
Nike
that.
PGA Championship golf shoes,
I'll take
and
that.
they match that shirt perfectly.
I appreciate it. So kind of you on your birthday to give me a gift, Leroy. So
I didn't say I was
kind.
buying them. Like, whoa.
Oh, I get it. I read between the lines, more or less. I get it.
Hey, you
Like-
out here like your brother now. I ain't
Say
saying
no
I
more.
buy them.
Say no more. I get what you're saying. And yeah,
Hey,
it would match perfect.
So last night, when Sam Reinhart got that ball, got the puck,
Yeah.
with
I
about
thought
8
for sure.
seconds left.
Thought it was going in.
Oh my goodness.
I was about to jump off my couch. I thought for sure this thing was going to OT. I mean, how many times has he hit that shot? How many times has he hit that damn shot? You know, like that's his sweet
The thing
spot.
that throws me off is, and the announcers say it, sometimes the puck does not cooperate. So sometimes it's not flat.
Well, he had a
it's
lot of those
rolling.
too. Like he had a lot in
Right.
position where he was just whiffing. You know, I know a lot of people are getting on Sam Reinhart for yesterday. I don't know, but you know, I trust him in those spots. I mean, how can you go against the guy with some of the most goals in the season? And the only other guy that you probably get in that spot more, and he did not play a good game yesterday, surprisingly, was Carter Verhaeghe. Carter Verhaeghe usually in the clutch always steps up. He was rough yesterday, especially when he realized, I'm not playing football, so I gotta put the puck down. So it was definitely not the best performance of the playoffs, that's for sure.
But if that's your worst, one of your worst performances, and you lose 2-1,
yeah,
you gotta feel good.
I feel fine going in. Yeah, we'll hear a little bit from Paul Maurice. We got to bump up cat talk a little bit because we are going to get out early today. So we'll hear from Paul Maurice on his team's performance and why he decided to just berate them in the middle of that game yesterday. That's next.
what they doing. Now, if you know yo is somebody that you gonna take to the hotel room tonight.
All right, welcome back. Tobin and Leroy. Take you up until 2 here on the program.
No, we will not.
Oh, you're right. We're up till noon today. My bad. Force of habit.
I thought the party started at noon. I had to make arrangements.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because what's the
Well,
point
yeah,
of me going? Rebecca gets out of school at 2:30.
Right.
But
What are they doing, David? Instead of a school bus, do they have a horse and buggy?
no, she goes to school down the street, dude.
Well, I don't
You
know.
know what there is a lot of, though? Golf cart pickup.
Dude, I saw a kid yesterday in my neighborhood. Couldn't have
And
been-
there's so many kids driving them. This is dangerous. Somebody's
Dude.
gonna get hurt.
This kid was this kid was definitely younger than my daughter. I was like, well, she cannot be driving. What is she, 10? And she was like lean back. She was casual.
She was pimping the ride.
She was like, I'm just like, oh my God.
I feel like they
It's-
passed new laws recently too. They're supposed to be not considered street legal.
Oh,
Right. No. If you're riding in the street, you got to have a license plate and it has to go a certain speed.
Now,
Right.
and a new law about 7 months ago, people under the age of 18 cannot operate a golf cart.
really?
I think
Hey,
Dude,
but
I'm telling
see,
I was like,
here,
I've seen kids. I've
those
even
aren't-
seen
hey, those aren't redneck laws though. Redneck laws are different.
and I don't know
Come
who's
down
gonna
to Davie. Come
I-
down to Davie. You'll see some amazing stuff.
the kid's gonna have to do something reckless, and some Gertrude in the neighborhood is gonna have to call the cops on her or him, because we don't have like a lot of cops that just like patrol our neighborhood.
Oh yeah, because I tell you why.
except for that one time.
Well,
Intangibles.
Well, it's intangibles, but I mean, there's intangibles with a lot of like they have a cop on the premises. Like a lot of the communities have their own cops.
You have a cop that lives there. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know who's calling it. This person. I'm like, that person barely like hasn't lost all their baby teeth. Like they're still riding around in a golf cart.
Could barely reach the pedal.
I was like, what? I should also say, by the way, a happy birthday to my daughter, Sophia. I have a
Yes.
12-year-old.
Ooh, happy birthday, Sophia!
I'm not prepared to have a 12-year-old. This is
12-year-old,
Dude,
dude. Preteen.
Can I just tell you,
ugh.
you ain't if you ain't ready for a 12-year-old, you wait till you get to a 16-year-old.
Ugh.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Uh,
All I gotta say, Tobes, buckle up. You will be in the best shape of your life when she bring her first friend over.
ugh.
You talk,
Wow.
well, you know how many times I got in the pool just swole?
Yeah.
Just swole. Like, say, ooh, they say your daddy lift? I say, yeah.
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 But yes, happy birthday to her. We did our party on Saturday, basically. or on
Oh, did
Sunday.
you?
But
Can I just say this? Having a birthday on Wednesday is the worst possible day.
it sucks, right?
It
sucks.
sucks. And guess what? And you know what Mel threw in my face?
What's that?
My birthday's on Saturday this year.
It always does feel better when it's on a weekend.
It definitely does. It definitely
You know,
does.
but here's the kicker though. I never had a birthday when I played football. So,
Yeah, that is true.
you know what I mean?
That is true.
But it's torture. Wednesday birthday.
Yeah.
Do you celebrate
man-
it before or the next weekend?
One man who is definitely not happy with it was not a party for him yesterday. It was Paul Maurice. Dressed
Whoa,
down his team.
Oh, really?
You didn't see the video of him yesterday? Now he was, you
No.
know how he was at the post game. The post game is cool as a cucumber.
During the
But he
game,
was
he
asked-
lost his mind.
Oh yeah.
We got video.
By the way, I don't think we can run the video. I could send
Oh,
it
okay.
to you. I don't-
Yeah, send it to me. Send it to me. Because
send
I
it
got to tell you, Paul Maurice is cool, as my man would say, cool as the other side of the pillow, right? But periodically, he loses his mind on the bench.
It was great. It was great video yesterday.
You know who was
I'll
like
send-
that? Denny. Denny Green was always mellow.
Yeah,
and
nobody would
calm.
think that based on his most famous quote.
Right. But there's a couple of times in practice where he lost his mind and everybody, it got quiet.
I sent you a couple of the angles of it from yesterday, but let's hear from Paul Maurice. This was him yesterday, asked about why he felt the need to light his team up in the second period.
Paul, you definitely woke them up. They scored 11 seconds after the TV timeout there in the second period. What was the message there, and what was your thought on the goalie interference?
I don't know the exact words of the message. I felt that a little fire. I wasn't mad at them. Understood what they were going through. Just thought they needed some profanity in their life. I brought some. I don't excel a lot of things in life, but me, I might get at that. See how I did that? Okay.
Hey,
this guy has been
Okay,
delivering.
wait.
This man is an
How can you
artist.
not like this guy?
This man is an artist.
See,
He
wait,
has
and then he
been
said, see how I
delivering.
did that?
See, I did that. You like that?
But
Wow.
here's the thing. There's certain guys, because I'll tell you what, you know who was like that? Bill Belichick was also like that. Like when he raised his voice, it sounded awkward, but you knew he meant business. The couple of times that he did it, right? And Denny was the same way. Denny lost his mind one time in practice, and everybody was like, hey,
Oh.
hey. And I remember Chris Carter getting in the huddle and saying, I've been here the longest. That might be the second time he's ever yelled like that.
My God.
Yes. So you know when it comes, right? Everybody's like, okay, you mean business.
Oh, JFig is breaking some news to us. Apparently, the
Giants are
New
on
York
Hard Knocks?
Giants are on Hard Knocks this year.
Ooh. Who do they even have?
Dayball.
Dayball.
Isn't that funny? His name connotes his body's type.
The ball.
Can anybody picture Brian Daboll in anything other than a coaching windbreaker?
No.
Or one of them sweat jackets.
Right.
Like he's constantly working on his weight.
That's how we roll. All right, great. Danny Dimes. Fantastic.
Wait, didn't they didn't draft a quarterback?
No.
We got
No,
rid of Saquon.
Got rid of Saquon. He's on the Eagles.
Didn't everybody say though they thought they might draft a quarterback?
Yeah, that was a thing for sure.
Yeah,
Who did they?
okay.
Did they end up taking a lineman? I don't even remember who they took.
But here's
Holy
the problem. Here's the problem. I get why everybody would think you need to get another quarterback, right? But the problems of your team don't go away, and you still gonna have to pay this quarterback $40 million.
They took Neighbors from LSU, the receiver.
You see what I'm saying? That's where the mistake of not getting another quarterback and having to go with Daniel Jones is not this problem. That problem was created when you gave him $40 million a year, and now you got to pay him, right? So if you're not happy with him, there ain't a whole lot you can do this year, and getting another quarterback is not going to make your team better. So I got to say, more weapons. There's a lot of, man, in the last few years, a ton of stud receivers that have come into the league, right? Ton.
Yeah, I mean, they got the guy, like everybody said, Harrison and Neighbors are probably like the two.
Right.
Like they're going to be stars right away.
Right. So yeah.
But unfortunately,
And then here's the problem.
Fortunately for Neighbors, you got Daniel Jones thrown to you.
Well, I mean, are they saying the same thing in Arizona though?
I don't think
Because
so.
they kind of like he's got
As
an
long as-
arm, but
as long
It's
as you
like
keep
the OBJ Jarvis Landry thing. One of them had Eli Manning. The other one, may or may not have had a wide receiver throwing him the ball.
you know what's crazy about that though? Right? when you say one of them had Eli Manning,
Yeah.
Eli Manning is going to be a Hall of Famer. But if you just say Eli Manning, you don't realize it, right?
Well, and also
know-
Eli Manning and Odell had a very frosty relationship. Like there was a lot of public dispute between the two of them.
That's not here. In all fairness, that's not a unique thing to those two positions, right? And a lot of it is centered around this. When things aren't going well, right? You go to one or the other guy, and he's responsible for answering the question for said guy, right? So instead of, they'll go to Odell Beckham and say, you only had 3 catches today. You know, what's up? And then they'll go to Eli. You only threw it to Odell, 4 times, right? And you go through a whole bunch of years of that. It's happening in a lot of relationships between wide receivers and quarterbacks. It's not just unique to this, and we always say that. But go look back. Go look at up in Buffalo, right? And they had a good, he got a great percentage of balls. He got thrown more balls than anybody in the league. Still you see what I mean? It's because the way you go at the success and failure of football, you always want one guy to answer for everybody. And that at times that can become, especially between wide receiver and quarterback.
I need to hear Paul Maurice again. I'm sorry. I need to hear him again.
Paul, you definitely woke them up. They scored 11 seconds after the TV timeout there in the second period. What was the message there, and what was your thought on the goalie interference?
I don't know the exact words of the message. I felt that a little fire. I wasn't mad at them. Understood what they were going through. Just thought they needed some profanity in their life. I brought some. I don't excel a lot of things in life, but me, am I good at that? You see how I did that? Okay.
He's incredible.
It's like, you know what I think the greatest trick he pulls off? He never, ever shows his anger or his displeasure in what his team is doing to us.
Oh yeah.
Right?
He'll
Never.
curse them out.
No,
Right.
which is why.
Right. But that's why he's awesome. And I'll tell you another thing is that you ever heard Bill Belichick call out a single player? No. And players appreciate that, even though they know that stink is on them. You see what I'm saying? So what Paul Maurice is doing is ingratiating his players even more because, like you said, we seen a couple of stinkers yesterday. Guys didn't play their best. No. And he's never going to put it out there like that.
No, I mean, they very clearly needed a fire under their ass because they got, and I do feel like it worked. It was a great game by Boston defensively and by Swayman, but I did feel like in that second period, I did feel like it, even with them going down again on the second goal, I just felt like the Panthers had plenty of chances. It just, it was unfortunate. It had some good kills in there as well. How about
the dude with the, I don't know what goalie interference is.
Yeah.
But if you sweep
I don't
the
either,
leg,
apparently.
If you sweep the leg, does that not constitute when Bob went down to a knee because you swept the leg with a stick?
I was lost when they went to
I'm not going to say anything because you know why we can't say anything, right?
No, I'm not.
We just went look at the boss. You're complaining, and we can't come right back.
Well, I genuinely don't know because they were on the broadcast. The last one, they were like, no shot. This is definitely getting overturned when it was Bennett. They're like, and then this one, they're like, oh, this is definitely getting wiped off the board.
Right.
And they're
even the ump up top, even the analyst, he's like, oh, after I see that sweep
that guy, leg. I'm sick of that guy. That guy's a coward because he goes on there and they go, what do you think, Clark? And he goes, Judgment call. What? We go to you for the answer.
Oh,
No, I hate that.
Judgment call.
Hey,
Make a
there's-
call,
wait,
dude.
Can I tell you?
-1.
There's no cowardly way to do that job. But he found a way when he says judgment call.
It's a judgment call. I'm like, and then he was
We want
explaining
to
to us,
know what the rule is, how you go about figuring it out, and go from there. I don't want to hear judgment call.
Yeah. So Bob gets his stick knocked out, but he was outside the crease.
He got
Then it
his
looked like
stick knocked out,
Boston.
but here, his stick got knocked out by his own guy.
Yeah, and
That was-
that's what they went
But
back and said.
I'm talking about his legs were in the blue,
Right.
and that's the part I thought they were gonna call.
Yeah. Well, judgment call, I guess. I don't. Whatever.
But we can't say, listen. As you know, you
No,
call
because I'm gonna say,
yourself-
look,
Right.
I thought
you call yourself honest Tobes.
I never
keep
thought
it
that.
real.
I didn't
keep it
think the
real.
Panthers.
I'm not gonna say nothing.
I don't think the Panthers are gonna have trouble in Game 6. I honestly thought they played well the rest of the way. I never thought they weren't gonna win this game, Leroy. I really thought,
Right.
even when they went down, I thought they were gonna. So I'm not worried about it.
Here's the kicker, though.
Whatever.
Here's what I would ask. I'm getting a little worried about the slow starts. They're up 3-2, but 4 of these games they've started off sluggish. Right?
I got you. Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, dude, you know what's up.
Yeah. I'd like that.
You
I'd like
know
Ryan.
what-
I want like a Reinhardt. The way he played, with all the shots and just couldn't get through, except for the lone goal. Like I'm like Reinhardt hat trick on deck. Let's go. Like he just light their ass up and let's take this one to the Eastern Conference Finals. But anyway, that was our Cat Talk brought to us by our friends over at Celsius. Hockey fans, don't sit this one out. When it's game time, make Celsius a part of your play and get that energy up. Game day is fueled by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks, the official energy drink of
your Florida Panthers.
Mix things up coming up next.
Bike.
Never let you down, baby. Hey, what's your baby mama?
Welcome back, everybody. Tobin and Leroy here with you. 560 WQAM. Shortened show today. We go till noon. We got a company festivities coming on up. And we appreciate Glenn letting us partake because it starts off in the middle of our show today. So everybody enjoy while we're here. We'll be back to our regularly scheduled programming tomorrow. Marcos.
Yes, sir.
Let's mix it on up, dude. The mixed bag is brought to you by Broward Health. Well into your future.
Speaking of the future, how about the future face of the league? If you already don't think she's the face of the league currently, let us hear Caitlin Clark's first three-pointer as a professional, well, during the regular season.
Here's Clark off a screen, gets a look, and hits.
Oof. 10 turnovers though yesterday, huh?
10 turnovers.
First game. I'm like,
yeah, record.
Yeah. I mean, usually 10 turnovers is going to be some kind of record.
It was a record though
for anybody, right?
It was a pro debut record for the WNBA. 10.
You look at it like Peyton Manning's first year with the interceptions.
Now look, just like any other team.
Well, he wasn't the only one that did that. What's his name? Troy Aikman was horrible his first year.
Yeah. Well, just like any other team, just so we're clear, the Indiana Fever suck. So
yes, true.
You know, that's that
was the reason why they ended up with the number 1 pick.
Yeah, they're not very good. So, you know, do with it what you will. But she you know, obviously I'm sure she'll bounce back. She was 5 of 15 from the floor, 4 of 11 from downtown. But yeah, ball was going all over the place. Willy-nilly for Caitlin Clark yesterday.
I will say this. A lot of the women's games are on Ion.
They are?
Yeah.
I don't even know if I get Ion.
Which is no big deal to me because that's where one of my shows are. So I know when
What's
my
your
show's
show?
not. Let's see. What is it? I like Castle. You ever watch that?
No. The only time I've ever seen Castle is before a playoff game.
You know, I was going to say for some reason I know about
that's been years though.
Any Castle or Bones?
No, I'm done with Bones. Right. Let's see. Castle. NCIS New Orleans. Big fan of that. And then lately I've been watching Rizzoli and Isles.
Huh?
Rizzoli and Isles. Come on.
Those are two different people, or is that like that not sound like a gated community though? Say that one more time.
Rizzoli and Isles? No.
Yeah, I live in Rizzoli and Isles.
But here's the kicker. I know why Tobin will never watch it. Guess where it's based out of?
Where?
Boston.
Oh,
gotta be. Why would I want more of that?
Other than that, that's really about it. But I like to watch, like I don't like when I'm in the jacuzzi, like when I get in, I don't like perusing because I got to touch the remote with my wet hands and you ruin the remote. So I know my shows. I know what channels they're on. Look, the old like watching network TV shows.
Oh, my grandfather, he loved Blue Bloods.
Yep, CCH Ponder.
Love Blue Bloods. My grandfather would be like, "Hey, what are you doing right now? Blue Bloods."
Really?
Oh, loved Blue Bloods. What else you got in the mixed bag, Marcos?
Do you guys want to play a quick game like we played yesterday with Carson Wentz? But this one's a little bit different.
Sure.
This one is called "Is He Lying?"
Oh.
I'm gonna start off by saying probably, or you wouldn't have presented it this way. You said, "Let's hear what so-and-so had to say."
This is Kirk Cousins. This is a Q&A here. Very quick response on whether or not he had any beef with the pick of Michael Penix.
Kirk Cousins, the Falcons. There's no beef involved.
No, and I don't think there can be. I don't think it's helpful. Like, we're trying to win a Super Bowl. It's hard enough. Let's all be on the same page and let's try to go win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Want me to translate that for you?
Yes, I would love to hear that.
No problem at all. I got mine.
But also,
guaranteed.
You also saw how he got a little high pitched there at the start. Oh no, we're all good, everybody.
Falcons, there's no beef involved.
No, and I don't think there can can be. I don't think it's.
No.
If we're trying to win a Super Bowl. It's hard enough. Let's all be
How
on the
much did
same
he get
page. Let's try to win a Super Bowl.
I think 90 something
More than that.
guaranteed. No, I think what did he get? Hold on.
Got too much. Tell you what. Too much indeed. Too much to especially go out and get a quarterback the way that the Falcons did. But like Tobin said earlier in the show, they are going to be the first team to start 2 quarterbacks. So kudos to them.
I'm just like, okay, you got guaranteed, you got around 100 million guaranteed. And before you pay a play, they bring in another quarterback. Why would you feel threatened?
4 years, 180, 100 guaranteed.
Yeah. Okay. You see what I'm saying? Like, why would you feel threatened? You ain't even played a play for the Atlanta. You ain't even put on the Atlanta Falcons uniform yet.
Well, I think that's I mean, I think it's just one of those things. You think let's be honest about it. Nobody thinks that in the midst of all that, you're gonna be, having your replacement in the room right away. And I think he probably thinks to himself, oh man, we have the 8th pick, probably get a really great weapon or something great for the offense. And nope. We're planning for the future, Kirk.
And I would say, Kirk, you should be used to this. You've made more money than anybody in the NFL. And everybody along the way is giving you guaranteed money and still drafted your replacement.
What else you got in the mixed bag, Marcos?
Speaking of guarantees, usually guarantees in life, death, taxes, and Joker's gonna make some weird ass. I can say that, right? Yeah, weird ass shots. That's fine, right?
Bro, the Joker. Did you see what he did last night?
Woo! Did I?
I mean,
as awkward as he looks, the ball never touches rim. It's amazing.
The touch around the rim is amazing.
47 and 13 yesterday.
0 turnovers.
Jesus.
Absolutely amazing. And all this on the defensive player of the year. This is Rudy Gobert.
What does Rudy Gobert do? The prideful thing, and after this series, drive down to Miami, knock on Bam's mansion, and leave the defensive player of the year on his doorstep.
Yeah, absolutely, because he did not deserve it based off yesterday's performance.
Here's the problem.
Gobert.
Your defensive player of the year was terrible against Joker. And the guy who you have on your team that didn't want to play defense actually D'd him up when Gobert wasn't there. And that's
their best game. Yeah, their best defensive game was without him.
Right.
This needs to be like Reggie Bush. Like, take the award away.
Carl Anthony Towns, though, is more athletic and can probably stay in front of him a little bit better.
Who cares, dude? Nobody has ever mistaken Carl Anthony Towns for a defender.
I know, and he slowed down Joker.
This guy has more defensive player of the year awards than all but 2 people. We're talking like Ben Wallace, and who was the other one? Was it? He's like
Ron Artest, maybe.
No, dude, even more, this is historic, like, class that he's in, and it's ridiculous because every time he gets to the playoffs, he gets cooked. And I get it. It's not a playoff award. But my God, other guys have gotten punished for awards for playoff performance the next year. Nobody ever learns with him.
Hey, Joker earned his MVP.
He did, but they didn't give it to him. They basically took a year off of him because, oh, come on, you didn't win the championship yet. Like they did that with Giannis. I mean, they did it with LeBron. It's crazy. This guy is looked upon as like this generational defender. He's not. And the guy who's better than him has never been first team all defense.
Right.
Anyway.
Because it would look awkward if they made him first team all defense and didn't have Rudy Gobert there. after giving him Defensive Player of the Year, right?
But they could do front court now. Like it doesn't matter. But it's just frustrating. Anyway,
did that come out yet? By the way,
no, it's next week. Next week, the all defensive and all NBA teams come out. Anything else, Marcos, in the mixed bag?
Rudy Gobert says Jokić put the team on his back.
He was in the zone. I mean, a couple of shots that I think I actually blocked, and the ball went in, and it was just incredible.
Foul tips.
Put the team on his back.
Yeah.
Rudy Gobert's like, I made contact. The catcher just got it. My bad. Speaking of great defenders and badasses, of which Rudy Gobert is neither, Udonis Haslem was on ESPN yesterday. And let me just tell you something. This man cooked on the national stage, especially when it came to one JJ Redick. Because Udonis Haslem finally had the guts to say something nationally that nobody else would say about this JJ Redick getting boosted to the front seat. We'll bring you that next.
It's time for our Tua.
It's our Tua. It's our Tua. It's our Tua. Tua, Tua, Tua. Tonga Valoa. Not
Tua Tagovailoa.
A for effort. Dolphins quarterback.
Tua.
It's our Tua. It's our Tua.
Tua.
Tua, Tua, Tua. Tua, Tua, Tua. Can go to hell. Tua Tonga Valoa. Dolphins quarterback.
Daddy loves you guys.
Our Tua with Tobin and Leroy.
Check the history of
Hour 2 of the program, ladies and gentlemen. Tobin and Leroy here with you. Take you up until noon. So final hour of the show here today, everybody. Shortened show. We are going to a company party today. And that's so Galen gave us the early exit today on Leroy's birthday, which we appreciate. We appreciate it. Let's get to our headlines brought to you by the new Palmetto Ford Truck Super Center. Why buy your truck in a car store? Palmetto Ford.
We know trucks. You think Jennifer's gonna get caught by trains?
I don't know. I don't think she's going.
Oh, really?
I feel like this is closer to the Hard Rock. She would have like taken half of the trip here.
Yeah.
Or maybe she wants more time to get ready.
I don't know. Maybe Scooby's coming. Who knows?
That'd be nice.
Oh, let me tell you.
Hmm?
Not for nothing. No chance. Somebody bring their dog up in there, we gonna have a problem.
The action last night, Panthers fall game 5 in the Eastern Conference, second round to the Boston Bruins. So the Cats still lead that series 3-2. Raheem Mostert, by the way, he was the one who ended up banging the drum.
Oh, that's what I learned yesterday. No more drum banging for Mr. Mostert.
What? You're taking it away? It's not his fault.
Maybe we get a little Jalen action banging the drum next time.
Wow, you already want his replacement out there, huh? The Knicks blow out the Pacers 121-91, so they go up 3-2. Jalen Brunson.
I was going to say, how many points did Jalen Brunson? He didn't.
44.
Didn't look like it. Looked like he never missed.
44 yesterday for Jalen Brunson.
He injured too.
Yeah,
you're only injured. Everybody knows, Marcos. You're only injured if you have a bad game. That's how it works.
Or you lose by 40.
The Denver Nuggets go up 3-2 on the Timberwolves, beat them 112-97. Joker, 40.7 rebounds, 13 assists in the win. So there you go. That was your basketball last night. The Binks take on Orlando City on the road. Game time is set for 7:30. Lionel Messi, questionable with a minor knee injury, Leroy.
How often do you guys do chili peppers on the Pinks? Almost never, right?
Never.
Never.
I have a friend that most recent game that they had where they scored an absurd amount of goals. I think they scored like maybe 5 or 6 or something like that. My friend put down
5 assists.
Yeah, my friend put down $60 that 4 different players would score. Won $2,000.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, the Brinks.
The Brinks.
So, today, Leroy, we may have to take a couple steps to that sports book.
The
NFL. I'm not going to the sports book. I'm going plop right in front of Pie Guy.
The NFL schedule gets released tonight. Miami Dolphins, the one we officially know.
Hey, of the 3 of us, who
Yeah.
could give a rat's ass?
I mean, Marcos cares a lot. I care. I guess you're gonna play that to win. That's a loss tomorrow, though. Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Come on, man. We gotta play, baby. Come on,
It's
baby. We gotta
stupid. It's stupid. You do it every year, and then when somebody gets hurt or somebody loses their quarterback, then it's
that doesn't matter. It's still, I understand, but that's the fun
think
of
about
it,
it.
baby.
Wait. Think about it. Think about this. You think Tobin and Leroy in New York did that's a win, that's a loss with the Jets?
I don't know.
And it lasted 4 plays.
Yeah, you're right, but who cares? It's about the fun. It's not a stupid game. It's not a stupid game.
Waste of time. Waste of time.
It's a tradition, okay? In this house, we respect tradition.
So it's me taking a dump.
What?
Is that a tradition? Have you
Yeah, you
have you
gotta do
stated
it.
these terms? Yes.
All right. Well,
Gotta do it.
we know the Dolphins are opening up
Oh,
their
yeah, there's
season.
food.
Huh?
What?
Is there food there?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I can't even eat anyway.
Why?
I'm going to eat with my family.
Oh, I understand. Okay.
Mm.
We know that the Dolphins are going to open up week 2 Thursday Night Football against the Bills. Now, I don't know what to make of this because it is just something that's called the NFL schedule leak. So I don't know if these are legit or not, but they're claiming the Dolphins are opening up their season hosting the Jaguars.
Okay.
Just so everybody knows. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's not true, but that's the word. That's the word. And their first road game, according to this, will be week 3 at Seattle.
Seattle.
Yeah,
At
which is
Seattle.
after a Thursday night game, right?
Right. So east to west,
that's
but
pretty good.
after a Thursday, you get a little extra
Right.
resty poo.
Yep.
So those are the early leaks. I don't want to,
They play in Cleveland.
What we got? That's a
They
win.
play in Cleveland, right?
No, we don't do that till tomorrow. We don't do that tomorrow. How dare you? How dare
They
you?
play
We
in
don't
Cleveland
play that.
though, right? Don't they,
They do play in Cleveland. They do play in Cleveland this year. Yeah, I don't know when that is.
That one.
But just so you're clear, Marcos.
Yeah.
You shut up. Okay.
Oh.
Because we don't play that's a win, that's a loss with partial games. Okay. You
Okay.
need the whole schedule to play that's a win, that's a loss.
You know what? I'm gonna be with your punt return aficionado.
Metcalf?
September 6th.
That's my guy. Read the toes.
You ready? Texas visits Michigan.
Oh. So you're going to Ann Arbor.
And then on the 7th, the Browns play. So we're definitely going there because he went to Texas.
Whew. Wow.
Yeah.
And the Marlins, they win yesterday, 1-0 in 10 innings. Got an outstanding start from Ryan Weathers.
Oh,
Eight
no
shout-out
relation
from
to
him.
Carl?
Nope. Intangibles.
Hey,
As related-
we thought Hartenstein was
Well, his father was former Marlins pitcher David Weathers.
Oh.
Who Stormy. And well, let's just say he looks like a middle reliever. Like that's what his father looked like. So Marlins will go for the series win this afternoon. 110 is your first pitch. All right, we'll take a quick break. Come back. I got to get to this. Our guy, Udonis Haslem, speak of that truth yesterday on ESPN.
That probably made you feel all warm and fuzzy, didn't it?
Oh, it did, dude. It really did. Back after this. All right, welcome back, everybody. Tobin and Leroy here with you. Take you up until noon today. We'll play Rats Off a Ship coming up here in about 15 minutes. Our favorite Wednesday game. So we'll do that to close out today's show. Play a little Rats Off a Ship. Leroy, can you get a weather update from the Demesman and Dover Law Firm? YourAccidentAttorneys.com. Free consultations 24/7. Call them at 866-954.
All right. Again, the theme of this week and of recent weather reports is hot as hell. It is, I'm going to say it's mostly cloudy. Sun's poking through a little bit. I see some black clouds. The wind's humming 15 to 20 miles an hour out of the west-southwest. So I'm looking for more of a chance, maybe a higher chance of rain today than in past days, just based on me looking at these clouds and this breeze coming in. And I'm guessing it's going to be about 91, 92 degrees already.
How do you do, Marcos?
He is a golfer, so he is damn close with almost
Should've
everything that he
known.
said. It is indeed mostly cloudy as of right now. Winds southwest, about 14 miles per hour, 37% chance of rains with scattered thunderstorms possible throughout the day. Currently, it has it listed at 95 degrees.
No.
Wow.
Before noon?
I tell you what, man, I went to go get my garbage can back this morning, and I was just like, and it was before 7 a.m. because everybody was leaving off for school. I was like, holy crap. How is it this hot at 7 a.m. this morning? What the hell is going on?
Bro, last night at maybe 12:45, I'm checking in on my son, and I hear my AC dripping. And I spent the next 2 hours making sure that I fixed that damn AC because I knew that it was about to be hot in the couple hours.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you want to make sure that thing is drained.
So at night, I set my AC at like 72, 73.
Solid.
During the
That's
day,
good.
I increase it to like 79. Right?
Jesus.
Yeah. But here's the problem. It stays on because it's so hot.
Yeah, for sure. And don't you have like 2 ACs or something like that?
Yeah.
Like one back room.
No, for both sides of the house. One on one side, one on the other side.
We only need
Oh,
one
no.
side.
Let me tell you something. These freeloaders, don't be getting too dude. I was like, Fonz and Rebecca have it nice and chilly all day. I'm like, hey.
Penguins.
Yeah. I'm like, y'all
In their
comfortable?
igloo. They're like, oh, it's a
I
little
said,
cold in here.
Y'all comfortable? They go,
You
"Yeah,
also
man."
see them. Are they also wearing hoodies on that side of the house too?
They always wear hoodies. They always wear hoodies. Right? So I like when I come in here, right? That's why you ever see I always have to have the blanket? Because
Yeah.
it's freezing over here.
You look like you're
So
going
I'm
to a
like,
game
hey,
in
man.
Michigan.
I said, hey man, y'all like it cool and y'all everybody comfortable? I said, let me slide this over to you. Why don't y'all go ahead on and break daddy off a piece of that $700 AC bill because you wanted on 75 all day.
Man.
Yeah.
All right. So speaking of Frosty, Udonis Haslem yesterday, my guy. He's in this week at ESPN. He's in all week this week at ESPN. He's at and I gotta tell you, what a delight. You know, normally they stick us with former Celtics, former Cavs. It's finally nice to have a national voice of reason over at ESPN because I need somebody agreeing with my takes. And
yeah, at least you're being honest.
They were talking yesterday. He was on NBA Today, and they talked a lot of topics. They talked about Bronny. I got to tell you, Udonis Haslem kind of into Bronny on the Heat. I was like, well, but that's not what I want to get to first. The more important thing,
talking points, bro. Like,
no, the important thing here with Udonis Haslem, possibly, I don't know. Maybe he's tuning in on the Odyssey app or on YouTube. What's going on, UD? Anyway, Udonis Haslem had this to say when it came to the Lakers potentially hiring a guy I've just had enough of, which is JJ Redick. Here's UD.
I'm going to go ahead and say it. If it's JJ, it's going to be a cynical locker room. You're going to see guys that are going to say, is Coach going to do a podcast after the game with LeBron? You're going to have a cynical locker room of guys that are going to side-eye everything JJ says, because they're going to wonder, is it JJ's message or LeBron's message? Now, I'm not just saying this because Chris Quinn is my guy, but Chris Quinn has relationships and coaching LeBron James in Miami prior to LeBron going to LA. So I know he's a guy that LeBron respects. Now, is he a true candidate? Who knows? Because we understand how this goes. You might put names out there where you already know who you're going to pick. But I think Chris Quinn really has an opportunity to go into that situation. Some Miami Heat culture, but also sprinkled in with what they're doing now and what LeBron likes to do. You have to have a healthy medium. It can't be all Chris Quinn's way, but it can't be all LeBron's way. You got to meet in the middle. And I think Chris Quinn might have an opportunity to really go in there, have the respect of LeBron James, and have the respect of the locker room. And it's not going to be cynical. It's going to be a flat, clean slate, start from scratch.
Wow.
Ooh, he's got a point.
Wow.
He's got himself a point.
Wow.
Hey. Finally, somebody had the guts to say it. That this podcaster shouldn't be jumping the line above people who have been in the nitty-gritty of it all, who have actually been earning their stripes as a coach. And yeah, you want to know something? It's the truth. How are you not going to be on that team and you hear JJ Redick and you're just like, when's this going to be on your latest episode with LeBron, JJ Redick? Everybody's had enough of JJ Redick. You hear Doc Rivers had enough of JJ Redick because JJ Redick is out here and he goes, Doc Rivers, he's always an excuse, which is true. But also, you know what? Have a little,
Wait a minute.
have a little class when it comes to
him, or you agreeing with some of his takes?
Well, his take wasn't off on that. Doc Rivers loves an excuse. But, Doc, you had to agree. Like, JJ Redick took a blowtorch to you a little bit too hard there.
Listen, we all have to walk. We all have to crawl before we can walk. We've all paid our dues to get into this coaching carousel. You telling me now the only requirements is a podcast and where you talk about basketball? You ain't even got to coach men. You just got to be friends with them. How is that going to work?
It's great. And so Doc Rivers clapped back at JJ Redick yesterday, and he goes, he was on Stephen A. Smith's podcast, ironically, on a podcast, and he's like, I don't know, Stephen A., but I'm looking here, and it looks like JJ Redick averaged more points with me than any other coach. Just interesting. But anyway, Wow Printing and Graphics, which, hey, if anybody needs any printing and graphics, go see Wow. He says Tobin hates JJ Redick so much that he wants to give up Chris Quinn just so he can't get the job. That's not what I'm saying. I don't want to lose Chris Quinn, okay? I just think it's ridiculous that this team, this organization has had so much success these last few years. And every other time I see Bucks, Budenholzer guys getting jobs. I see Celtics guys getting jobs. I just find it weird that Spo and his staff, like nobody, I think I've seen Chris Quinn get like 2 interviews. Just strange to me.
The only guy that's gotten an interview, that's gotten a job is Michigan, right?
Juwan Howard got the Michigan job, and then Fizdale, but Fizdale was 10 years ago. 10 years ago with the Memphis Grizzlies job?
Take that for data.
Right. Like how long ago was that? And the Heat have had like a whole nother...
And who got him fired?
Marcus Gasol got him fired.
Marcus Gasol,
yeah. The quiet Gasol. I was like, what? Marcus Gasol got you fired? But anyway, that was years ago. So I'm just sitting here and I'm trying to figure these things out. That's all.
You think the way they do things down here can't be done everywhere, though?
Maybe you're right, because this organization believes in continuity, believes in, patience and all that stuff. Like they're going to stick with their guys. If you go to the Lakers, everything's going to be scrutinized and he might get, chewed up and spit out. Maybe he doesn't even want the Lakers job. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, it's weird that he basically Udonis Haslem is telling you, like, come on, he's like a token interview. And like, Udi's friends with Chris Quinn. He knows. He's like, come on, I'm not really a candidate for that job. They want to give it to JJ Redick.
I like that he said that, though. That because we know what's going on here.
We know what's going on.
It was kind of like an advertisement to, like, he may not get the Lakers job, but if anyone's listening, Chris Quinn,
Yeah.
It is interesting because now we go off of like where Pat Riley a couple weeks ago was telling UD, he's like, he's got to realize he works for the Heat. He can't go up there all too honest with these Tyler Hero takes. Not that he disagrees with his takes, but he's just saying,
That's what I'm saying. That's the thing. That's the thing. You comment on the hot takes, but you didn't say he was wrong.
No. Well, he said like I believe his answer was that's a narrative that's out there. They must all know more than me, but that. They've had those takes. There's no way that Pat Riley and Udonis.
He also said Tyler's a starter.
He did.
For who?
Well, technically right now the Heat.
No. He said it was a starter. See, I'm using the old Tobin wiggle room here. Because 3 months from now, you're going to say, I said Tyler was a starter. Just
That's the narrative that's out there. Everybody who has that narrative knows more than I do. So they must know more than I know to say that about Tyler. Tyler's a starter. Is that going to be something that you would ask a player one day, whether it be he or Rozier or somebody else one day? I mean, that's where a coach has a job to do. That's what he gets paid for. So whatever is in the best interest of the team, because we don't know until you have everybody sort of available, how the whole thing works, But the only thing I think true about what Udonis said, and he has to understand that, he works for the Heat, like, go for it. Okay, but he works for the Heat. And I had that conversation with him because I think he's really good, on NBA TV or ESPN on the studio shows. And I think he and Mike Miller are funny as hell on his podcast. They chop it up, half the stories are a lie, especially the ones about me, are embellished. But yeah, he probably should have kept that to himself. But I'm sure that, Amy and Jackson.
Hey, I tell you what he didn't say. Shut up.
Oh, man. Macman says, love how Tobin always mentions the UD hero take, but ignores the Bam at the 4 take. Well, actually, I did. We mentioned that when they came out. I let Leroy gloat for like a good hour.
If I'm not mistaken, I have been saying that. Gloat. Wait, I have been saying that ever since Bam got into the league. So this is nothing new for me.
Leroy wants to replace him with Purdue Sasquatch. Move him over.
Wait. No. It has nothing. Wait, can I just say this? My feelings about Bam playing the 4 has nothing to do with who else is on the team, but has to do with Bam's skill set. And I've said that from the beginning, right? Everybody says you're crazy. But no, I think he's closer to Siakam than people think. He may be better at it, but I'm just saying, when you see Siakam play, it's a lot of the things that Bam does or can do.
Well, they're gonna need a lot more of Siakam if they're gonna have a better performance than they did yesterday. Whoo! What a disaster.
Woo!
You can't let DiVincenzo punk you guys. That's
a
rough
DiVincenzo. He got hops too, huh?
Yeah. Oh man. All right, we'll take a quick break. Play a little Rats Off a Ship to close things out next.
2 a.m.
Rats off a ship.
All right. Final segment for us today. We're breaking early today. We got a company partay that we're going to partake in. Back to normal scheduling tomorrow, but it is still a Wednesday.
It's more than a party.
What do you mean?
This is leg 1 of the Super Olympics. I don't think you guys have been informed of this, I guess, it seems. Yes, you and Leroy have a long-standing battle against each other on athletic ability.
Mm-hmm.
And today is the first leg of the race. This is the electronic portion. So, I'm not sure who that favors necessarily, but there will be a series of sports that will be played today. Electronic.
You want me to out electric golf Leroy?
Hey, look, if you're able to do that, that's just going to bode well for you in the final standings.
The only thing that I got to do is show that I can read the toes, dude. That's the only thing I'm about to show everybody and shut everybody up with. So you line up a punter, I'll just catch his punt with ease. You got it. That's all I need. That's all I need. What do we got today, Marcos, for
Rats off a ship? DeShaun Watson, but this time a little less controversy, a little more. What the hell are you doing here? Back tattoos with a blank Super Bowl ring. Let's check this out here. Follow us, Miami 560 WQAM. If you see right there towards, I believe that's vertebrae
Right
22.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah,
right below the NFL.
Right below the NFL there, next to vertebrae 27.
Right next to Martin Luther King.
Yeah,
Yep.
You wearing a hat? Does Martin Luther King have merch in this? I think.
I mean, it looks
That
like
ain't
his.
Martin Luther King.
Who is that?
No, it says "Have a Dream." I
Oh,
have
yeah.
a dream.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah,
it is.
I mean, that's why you put the merch on them, just to make sure. Like, is this just a family member or is this? Okay, well, that makes sense.
It sounds that's Martin Luther King with a fitted hat on.
I'm telling you, is he throwing up the peace sign too? I can't really.
I think so.
What is going on here?
I mean, it's confidence. I don't know. I guess if you're like, well, I can't leave a blank slate there, so I might as well. I know I'm gonna win a ring, but I just don't know when.
He got the 2. Did he win 2 in college?
He's got the title rings.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep. And then I mean, I get the confidence, but I've never seen that work out well.
I've never seen that work out. I'm rats off a ship, but just because I never see that work out.
It is blank.
Off a ship.
It is blank.
It is blank, indeed.
I'm not rats off a ship because that means Cleveland gonna win one.
Well, or they're not gonna win one,
or not. Yeah, but I'm just saying.
Or the
At least look, if he doesn't win it, he could change Martin Luther King's hat to saying, "I had a dream."
I did indeed have a dream.
Hey, are we not done with the shenanigans with Martin Luther King?
Can we stop giving Martin Luther King accessories?
Yeah. No, but he wore that hat. That's the the hat is not he wore a hat when he marched sometimes. From his the organization he was in. So no, that's not a reach.
Okay. Well, the ring rats off a
It's
ship.
It's empty.
At least he didn't put a wide receiver glove on Martin Luther King.
Yeah. I'm not rats off a ship. Again, I told you why I'm not rats off a ship.
Yeah, because you want Cleveland to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Marcos?
I'm rats off a ship just because I've never seen that tattoo thing work ever.
Rats off a ship.
I like the one they play in hockey where the guy is like
nothing on it.
Correct. Yeah, for sure.
But even predicting that you're gonna have a ring in the Super Bowl, like it's a bit bold.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I have a tattoo of a number. And as soon as I got the tattoo, I wore a different number. So that's that.
I'm telling you.
But that's your number. I mean, like it was your college number. And
That's been my number my whole life.
Yeah.
Even
so,
Little
like,
League, Pee Wee, right.
Anyway, what's number 2, Marcos?
Number 2 on our list today, the NFL. Like we mentioned earlier with the schedule release coming out, they're moving on over to Netflix. Rats off the ship on the move by the NFL.
I mean, like, good for the NFL for continuing to get money, but I'm just rats off a ship because I'm just getting exhausted trying to find all these games, you know.
Wow.
Here's what I would say.
That's what
as
you draw
a
the line.
player. As a player, bigger checks mean more money. So I ain't never gonna be rats off a ship on that.
Nice. Rats staying on the ship for Leroy.
Yeah.
Until he has to help me find him to log into Netflix.
I don't have to do that. This Roku, it's already on there. I just go to Netflix.
Roku?
This Roku?
Yeah.
Roku.
What is it? Roku? Roku. You know what I was talking about, right? The whole point of using words is communication. If you knew what I was talking about, then the message was.
I also knew what you were talking about yesterday when Flabbergasted kicked your ass.
Hey, let's not talk about words kicking people's ass, right? you tried to say turducken on radio. No. during the pregame show, you would talk about turducken. So stop.
Marcos, where are your rats with NFL Netflix?
My rats are staying on the boat. I am not rats off a ship. Like you mentioned, most remotes nowadays come with a Netflix button. It literally doesn't get easier than pressing a button and opening up Netflix.
All right.
So I'll take that.
A couple sellouts here. All right. I'm for the people. I'm for.
You missed the pure game on CBS.
Didn't you used to give us hell, Leroy, because the games were on Amazon? You're like, there's 9 steps.
That's true. He did hate that.
Dude, no. Here's what I have Amazon. You go to Amazon. Would you like to watch the game? Boop. What angle? Boop. Look. Just
my favorite's
game,
always.
go.
My favorite is always live. Yes.
Right. Yes.
I'll
yes.
hit rewind.
Let's not forget that one. Right? No, that's what I'm not talking about going there to watch the game. I'm talking about, hey, Amazon, you got the game. Great. I want to click on the Amazon, which I have, and I want to watch the game. I don't want to answer a damn questionnaire to decide which version or where I want to see the game from.
What's number 3, Marcos?
Bronny James recently came out with a quote. Bronny?
Oh, Bronny. Okay, Bronny, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. My bad.
Bronny says he doesn't care about playing with his dad. This is the quote. Says he never thought about the prospect of playing on the same team as his father. He is solely focused on making it to the NBA.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he's never thought. I'm sure his dad's never peppered him with it. Like not so.
Hold on.
You and me, son. You and me.
You want me to tell you what he was really trying to say?
Tired of hanging out with my dad.
You see all them other players he done played with? I don't want none of that smoke.
I think that Bronny's probably thinking to himself, I don't want my dad hanging around. I want to go enjoy the NBA life myself. But I'm not rats off a ship. Look, I'm into the Miami Heat taking Bronny James. Another point, by the way, that Udonis Haslem spouted yesterday on NBA Today. He goes, needs a little development, needs some place where they know how to develop players. He's like, come on. He knows what it is.
Would you like to hear that quote, sir?
I would.
Oh, me too. I don't have it. No, I'm kidding.
Ari reported on the show yesterday that it is more than likely that he will spend some time in the G League, but really what he needs to find is the infrastructure around him within some sort of team that has a culture, not to use. He's here. You have to use the term Heat culture at least once. If there's a team that has that sort of culture that's able to uplift him and grow with him and be able to develop them. I'm not saying any specific team. I'm just saying that sort of sentiment. Brian, what do you think of all of this?
Well, first off, if Bronny James ended up in Miami, he should be honored because their history of developing players is pretty much unmatched. That's a side issue.
Thank you.
I thought Bronny had a terrific day yesterday. Number one, that 210, that shouldn't be just ignored. He was playing at less than 200 pounds at USC. He obviously wasn't able to work out while he came back from that terrible heart incident.
Yeah.
He has been working hard on his body. Look at how much stronger and thicker his arms are. That was a very good sign. Also, you mentioned that 6'7" wingspan. That bodes very well. If you're going to be
Wingspan,
6'1",
dude.
6'2", and play in the NBA, you got to be elite at something. You either got to be an elite shooter, an elite point guard, or an elite defender. He shot the ball very well yesterday, and we know that he has very good defensive fundamentals. The other thing I'm going to point out, people don't know Bronny. LeBron made the decision to keep him sheltered.
I don't know if it's
never given a
Windhorst.
press conference.
But listen, I'm with you, D. He's just saying. And I'm not rats off a ship off Bronny. Look, I don't even need LeBron to come back here. I'm not into that. Bring him down here, develop him. I'm all for it. Heat are great at that. Kid obviously likes to defend. He's got wingspan. I'm sorry. Miami Heat point of attack defense. That's not been a thing that they've needed over the last couple of years. A lot of talented point guards you got to go stop. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that was a skill that people weren't into in the NBA.
Yeah. I would appreciate it. I would appreciate it from the Heat perspective if every guy wasn't under 6'9".
Leroy,
okay, but Leroy, we're not going to have a 6'10" point guard, dude.
I know.
You know? And he's already got more wingspan than Tyler Hero.
Yep.
Even at 6'1.5" or whatever the hell he is.
You know who Tyler Hero's wingspan remind me of?
Who?
A wing span. A wing.
What about your rats? Bronny saying he doesn't need to play with LeBron.
I think he's saying that just to position himself, right? To be on his own and try to make it on his own. But I think he has to at some point want to play with his dad. He just doesn't want that to be, why not?
Because if you knew you were going to be in the NBA, right? If you knew you were going to be in the NBA, no difference. Like, let's just say, play with dad or not play with dad. I think I not want to play with dad.
I mean, your dad's not LeBron.
I know, but think about this. If you're an 18-year-old, right? Even is LeBron cool to you? Like, at that point, you're like, I get it. My dad's LeBron. He knows.
He's like, I get it. My dad's LeBron.
Want to go hang out with you? I think he wants to go hang out with Uncle Udonis.
Wait. Think about this. You can't have it both ways, right? You can't use the LeBron is my dad card for some things, but not other things. Now, the LeBron is my dad thing has gotten him a long way in his life. And I'm more than sure at someday he wants to be able to go on his own merits. But you can't tell me it hasn't helped you, right?
Sure.
And then all of a sudden you can't turn around and say, I'm out on the LeBron's my dad thing.
He needs to come down.
Here's what he wanted to say. And this is what I think is the fact about this. LeBron being my dad shouldn't have any impact on whether you bring me to your organization or not. I think that's what he's trying to say, because he don't want to get drafted kind of like who's that guy that LeBron got drafted?
Shabazz Napier.
That's what this has a feel of. Like these teams drafting Bronny thinking that, okay, we got a chance to get LeBron.
Well, here's the difference to that, though. Like, I understand what people are saying with the Shabazz Napier thing, but the Shabazz Napier thing is, when the Heat did that, the Heat didn't think they were losing LeBron. Like, Riley did that as a flex. Because remember, the Heat didn't have a first-round pick that year. They traded in to still get Shabazz Napier, and then LeBron scurried out of town nefariously. So
Shabazz Napier sucked.
That's fine. But LeBron did say my favorite player in the draft, and then acted afterwards on Twitter. He tweeted out my favorite player in the draft, which, by the way, Shabazz Napier, awesome college player. He was great at UConn. Was a baller for them. Got to the Miami Heat, tiny, and not exactly a Heat culture fit. So
here we go.
What?
Tiny players.
Yeah, he was, but he didn't have wingspan. I mean, Shabazz Napier wasn't 6'1", dude. I remember walking around Shabazz Napier at media day. I was like, whoa. I was taller than Shabazz Napier.
You're not 6'1" either, though.
I know, but he was listed at 6'1".
Okay.
Tiny Leroy.
So we're gonna just follow in those footsteps and keep getting tiny basketball
He's
players.
got wingspan, dude. Span of the wings. A condor. They should. That is Bronny James. A condor, dude.
No, I mean,
wow.
How big was D Wade's wingspan?
6'10".
There you go.
Oh,
6'3" though.
You want to know who else is wingspan 6'10", 6'1"?
Who?
Spider.
Oh.
Not playing tonight, by the way. Getting himself ready for training camp.
Solid. Good move.
Anyway, Marcos, where are your rats?
My rats are staying on the ship. Indeed, I feel the same way you do. In that I don't think he really cares too much about playing with his dad. Not necessarily for any other reason. He's just focusing on his own path. I think that's more of LeBron's dream. Like, I don't know if Ken Griffey understood when he got in the league. Oh, I'm like, this is a special moment. I think he's just like, I'm a kid. I'm playing. I'm just trying to earn my own stripes. Meanwhile, the father is there like, who's cutting onions?
All right, everybody, that's our show for today. Donno's taking over for us for the next couple of hours, and we will talk to you rat bastards tomorrow.
To transition. I'm a little shook right now. I got to be honest with you.
I'm like fiberglass. Whoa.
Big word for me, dog.
The number
Notorious.
Sorry that I missed hour Tua, but here we are, 12 o'clock hour of the Tobin and Leroy show. I am Alex Donno. We got Trevor Harris with us. Trevor took over for Marcos. I took over, I guess, for Tobin and Leroy, and Trevor took over for Marcos and JFig. So we're doing multiple people's jobs here, Trevor and I. And in fact, we're doing multiple people's shows, Trevor. We're going to be not only here for the rest of the Tobin and Leroy show from noon until 2 p.m., we're going to be on for the first 2 hours of Hawk and Crowder as well. And then Josh Appel, who I've known that dude since he was a high school kid. Like he
Really?
was, yeah. So it's crazy. Appel might be like an early version of artificial intelligence. Like he's not, he didn't like me. I kind of meandered into this business, right? I went through high school. I was interested obviously in sports, and I watched a lot of ESPN, listened to sports radio, but I never imagined when I was young, like below, 20, that I might want to get into broadcasting. I ended up going to business school, quickly realized I'm not very good at math, which is kind of a problem when you're in business school.
Same too. Math is hard for all of us.
It really is. And that's despite the fact that my father is a mathematician. So I stumbled into broadcasting. Josh Appel, when this dude was like 15, 14, he started doing broadcasting competitions. And like his high school had a student radio station. It was a whole thing. So he's a prodigy. And I think he's only like, he's definitely below 30. I don't know how old the dude is, but he's been crushing it out there. So he's going to be taking over at 4 p.m. Trevor is going to hang around, I think, for that entire shift. But I'm going to be with you guys until 4 o'clock. And, I was thinking last night that I would be on today maybe in happier circumstances. I could talk about an elimination from last night, right? And, full disclosure, I lost some money on the game last night. I'm not complaining because to this point, I've done very well. I've won more than I've lost betting Florida Panthers money lines on the Hard Rock app, because they've won 7 games so far in these playoffs. They've now lost 3 games in the postseason. Florida had the opportunity on home ice at Amarant Bank Arena last night to gentlemen sweep the Boston Bruins. And this is one of those things. And they said this, I think it was, who was it? Bob Wischusen on the national broadcast last night was saying this, that the Florida Panthers could not find a way to manufacture desperation.
No.
Right. I mean, Trevor, you saw it from the opening faceoff. Obviously the Panthers mentally, I'm not excusing it because I was disappointed with what I saw. This is just what happened. The Panthers were playing like a team that didn't need to win last night. And the Boston Bruins were playing like a team that had to win to survive. And when you go into the first intermission, Florida, having only produced 4 shots on goal in the first intermission, down 1-0, could have been even worse than that. It set a bad tone for the entire game.
It set a whole bad tone. I felt they were lazy. They were very lackadaisical.
Yeah.
And I just felt like they didn't want it. Like the Bruins wanted that game. They needed that game to stay alive, to take it back up to TD Garden for a Game 6 Friday night. They're not playing with house money, because I've heard that term, and like they weren't playing with house money and stuff. But Swayman needed to steal a game because everyone has been ripping him to shreds, giving up goal after Game 2, being awful in Game 3, not having the interference call on him for Game 4. It's just been, he's been the what's the word I like to say? He's been the reason for the Bruins to criticize him the whole time anyway. So him stealing a game was huge last night for the Bruins.
Yeah, that was the best the Bruins have played so far this series. Because I know that I know that out of Boston, a lot of complaining about the refs in recent games and the Sam Bennett goal that was allowed in Game 4. Like all they've been doing up there is bitching and moaning about the refs. But that doesn't change the fact that in the first 4 games of that series, including the game that they won, Game 1 in Florida, like the Panthers had been the better team on the ice in all 4 of those games, right? That even though, hey, I know the Boston fans would say, we would have won that game if those referees had overruled that Sam Bennett goal. They weren't producing any chances. Like they weren't producing chances in XG the way that the Florida Panthers were in that 4th game. But in Game 5, they absolutely played better. And so now it's like, Trevor, I don't know what to do with the analysis. And by the way, someone is going to be joining us in about 13, 15 minutes to help us with that Florida Panthers play-by-play voice Doug Plagans, who calls all the games right here on 560 WQAM, flagship radio announcer for the Florida Panthers. He's going to be joining us, and it's good timing because when Doug joins us, it's going to be right after. Paul Maurice is speaking on Zoom right now, and so Doug is going to join us right after to break down everything that the coach has to say. So we're going to be talking a little bit with Doug. But, you know, you look at home ice in this series hasn't meant much to this point, right? The Panthers have lost 2 games in Sunrise. They beat the Bruins twice in Boston. So now, like, you go back to Boston, and I know a lot of the Bruins fans are thinking, well, this is our opportunity at home to push the series to 7. They've played better on the road, Bruins, than they played at home, and vice versa. So I don't know what's going to happen on Friday night.
Friday's going to be wild. I'm also going to insert, is Brad Marchand going to show up in the roster? Because he's been out the past 2 games. That's the big thing. I've been here up in Boston. I've been having boots on the ground. People have been telling me what's going on in Boston, no matter if it's EEI or the other station, honestly. So people have been feeding me info anyways when stuff is being played of ours and stuff and what rumors are going on up there. So thank you to all my Boston peeps, honestly. But rumor has it's been concussion anyways, so it's be really interesting if he's going to show up for Game 6, or maybe he shows up for Game 7 if it gets to that, honestly.
Well, let me know, because there are other things going on in the sports world, including NFL schedule leaks. Like the full reveal is coming tonight. We know who's going to be on Hard Knocks now. Yeah. So, Trevor, if you will, give us some headlines for today.
Your headlines are sponsored by the new Palmetto Ford. Why buy your truck at a car store? Palmetto Ford, we know trucks. NHL, the Panthers lost to the Bruins 2-1 last night. I love a good 2-1 game. When it gets dicey in the third, it makes it very entertaining, I would say, for that, for sure. Anyway.
Yeah, and I heard Paul Maurice was in it. Both goaltenders were fantastic last night, and like Maurice said it, that if Swayman and Bob weren't like both standing on their heads, he said he wasn't making excuses. He said maybe we still lose the game, but it would have been like an 8-7 type of game. And we've had some high scoring games in this series, so it's like I expect, especially with how physical it's been, you would expect that most of the games would be 2-1 type of playoff games. Instead, we finally got one of those last night.
Definitely. Both goalies were standing on their head. Bobrovsky had some good saves this whole playoff run, no matter if it's the Tampa series or the Boston series, especially on those 2 shots back-to-back by Frederick and DeBrusk.
Yeah, and there was that one, I can't remember who it was who had that breakaway for Boston, and Bob made a double save. Like, he saved the initial breakaway, juicy rebound, got his pad down for the other one. It's like stuff like that. Obviously Swayman was really good as well, but if Bob hadn't been as good as he was last night, it may have been more of a 4-1 type of loss.
Definitely, for sure. Speaking of schedule release, it's tonight at 8:00, I think, on ESPN too, because there's hockey playoffs, Stars and Avs. Stars is going to eliminate the Avs tonight if it happens. So schedule release 8:00 for the NFL. Your international games, are you ready for this, Donno?
As long as the Dolphins are not one of them, because I've had enough. The Dolphins never win internationally. I've had enough of these Hamburg games and these London games. But who gets the international games this year?
All right, we kick it off in Brazil. Eagles, Packers, 9:15 Eastern time, by the way, up here in the States. 8:15
in the morning or the evening?
At night.
At night. Oh, I hate that. If it was 9:15 in the morning, giddy up. But it gives you like a 3-hour, 4-hour advance on the day. 9:15 at night, no thank you.
Yes. In London, let's go to, we got Jets and Vikings. Does that tickle your fancy? JJ McCarthy versus Aaron Rodgers.
I know a lot of the stinking New Yorkers down here who are like, oh, Aaron Rodgers and all that. I mean, I'll watch it. London, you said that one's going to be?
That's in London, yes.
Okay.
Bears and Jaguars.
I'm out. I enjoyed watching Trevor Lawrence, but I'm not going to go out of my way to watch that.
Pats Jaguars.
So how many international games are the Jaguars playing?
They're doing back-to-back weeks. Home game and a non-home game.
Like in London, both of them?
Yeah, both of them are in London. Bears are giving up a home game to the Jaguars. They're giving up a home game to play the Jags in London. And they're playing, and the Jaguars are a home game for the Patriots. So Drake
does London even want, like, the NFL has basically told London, like, the Jaguars are kind of your team too. Like, I know they claim Jacksonville, but see, the Jaguars, they're playing 2 straight games. And I don't even think London wants the Jaguars. London's like, no, thank you. We like our proper football over here across the pond. We don't need this garbage.
In Germany, of all places, They get the Carolina Panthers and the New York Football Giants.
Okay, and Hard Knock cameras will be there.
Hard Knocks will no. The Giants are the training camp version of Hard Knocks. By the way,
They're not the in-season
in-season.
version.
They are not
That's
the
right.
in-season yet. So
that's right.
The New York Football Gigantes are your Hard Knocks team. So get your HBO subscriptions ready because we know one thing: Drew Lock will not be entertaining. Daniel Jones will not be entertaining. But
But Tommy Cutlets, he's still on the team, right? Is he still the third stringer? Have they cut Cutlets?
I don't know. I usually pay attention to the NFCs. This is the first time I don't pay attention to the Giants in maybe 15 years. Anyways,
As long as I double checked that this morning. Like I went to Tommy DeVito's Wikipedia page, and according to his Wikipedia, I don't know if he's going to make it through training camp. I make no guarantees, but as of today, Tommy Cutlets is still officially a New York Giant. So they might just keep him through training camp just so he can be on Hard Knocks, and his mom will come to the facility and make chicken cutlets for everybody. Just keep him around through Hard Knocks, and then we're good.
Give him the show. Get Emerald on with his Tommy Cutlet's mom. Get a cooking show going. We need that.
I love it.
Italian Hour. How about that? We also have your first Dolphins home game of the year. It's week 2, Thursday night football versus the Buffalo Bills. I personally hate the Thursday night home opener. Honestly, it's not a good tailgate day. Honestly, coming after work. Anyways,
well, let me explain how they screwed the NFL schedule makers. Absolutely screwed over the Dolphins with this one. Okay, because all right, so you're playing the Bills at home in September, but it's a primetime game, so they're not going to melt, which I hate because like Trevor. So the Bills dodge a bullet. Like week 2, you're talking mid-September. If that was a 1:00 game, they'd be filing their OSHA complaints. They would be, worried about heat stroke. Everybody hates playing 1:00 games in Miami in September. And, the visitor sideline is intentionally in the spot where there's no shadows. So you really sweat them out. So Buffalo gets to play primetime Thursday night game in September. And that means the Dolphins are going to end up in Buffalo in November or December or probably first week of January, where day or night, it's going to be below freezing. Frozen tundra. It's probably going to be snowing. And so the Bills will get their home weather advantage against Miami, and Miami will not truly get theirs against Buffalo.
Hate to see it, honestly. The only good part is you get to have is you don't have to deal with less Bills fans, though. That's a good thing for you guys, anyways. All you New Yorkers.
Yeah, fair.
Here. So other than that, your weather, it's cloudy. It looks like it's going to rain today. How about that in Miami?
That's the most unprofessional weather report I've ever heard, sir.
Do you really want me to go on my weather app? It's 90, feels like 102 down here. Full of humidity. The UV index is very high, 66% of humidity, by the way. Winds are 10 miles per hour, dew point 77, and showers, 30% chance of showers. So have an umbrella or a windbreaker ready. So
yeah,
that's been Dover.
I always forget to bring an umbrella in my car, and that it's always raining. Like when I'm taking my son to school, you got to walk like 200 yards from the parking lot, and I get soaked, and my kid gets soaked. It's a whole thing. I got to remember to put the umbrella in the car. Someone who always remembers to bring an umbrella with him wherever he goes is Doug Plagans, voice of the Florida Panthers. He is going to join us when we come back, and he's going to give us a briefing of the newest comments from Florida Panthers head coach Paul Maurice, as the Cats are they didn't send Boston home last night. Well, I guess they technically did, because we're going to Boston for Game 6 on Friday night. What did Paul Maurice have to say? Doug Plagans will enlighten us when we come back. You're listening to AM 560 Sports, WQAM.
This hour of Tobin and Leroy is sponsored by Kendall Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram, home of the $8,000 trade.
Well, Florida Panthers did fall last night on home ice 2-1. They still lead their series 3-2 with the Boston Bruins, but the series is going to shift back to Boston Friday night for Game 6. Florida Panthers will try to close things out on the road, keeping in mind they have won the previous 2 games at Boston, so hopefully they can do that one more time. And the voice of the Florida Panthers, Doug Plagans, joins us now. And Doug, I know you just got off a media availability from Paul Maurice. What were any highlights from that? What did Coach talk about heading into this 6th game?
Well, really, and thanks for having me. Really just expanded on some of the things from after last night, you know, as the team gets ready to go to Boston tomorrow and then play Game 6 on Friday. And I think there are a couple of things you look at last night. I know the Panthers, and Paul Maurice said, didn't love the overall game. They weren't thrilled with the start. Said that the Panthers may have been, moving the puck in some ways that don't really suit the game that they play. It was kind of the language that he used last night during his assessment in the post-game media availability. At the same time, credit to the Boston Bruins. They had to be the really desperate team playing for its life, and they were able to, live to fight at least one more day, and that day is going to be Friday. Both teams, I think, I'm always one to say in the playoffs, you can benefit from having any kind of rest that you can get. I think both teams will welcome the extra day in between games here. Maybe Boston even a little bit more, because let's not forget they went right from a Game 7 overtime finish to their first round series and then right to sunrise. They haven't had an extra day off between games going back to the first round. So maybe they needed this a little bit more than the Panthers do, but I think both teams will certainly welcome it. And the Panthers are excited to be able to get back out there on Friday with another chance to win the series. And I think that's the big thing that everybody needs to keep in mind. Nobody said it was going to be easy. It's the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's the second round. You can't fake your way to this point. Everybody left is good. That's a proud Boston team over there, and they came out desperate, and they were able to upend the Panthers, who had won the previous 3 games in the series. The Panthers, though, as you mentioned, Alex, they have had success in Boston, and they'll look to continue that success when things get going again on Friday. And I don't believe at this point we will have all the action right here on 560 WQAM on Friday, but at this very moment, I don't believe a specific set time has been announced just yet, but we'll get all that information to everybody as soon as it becomes available.
Hey, Doug, what's the big thing you've noticed about the Boston Bruins last night especially? They were very desperate and stuff, and especially with the goalie interference has been the hot topic or hot button of the playoffs. What has been your takeaway since you and Billy Lindsay were going crazy about it yesterday?
Yeah, it was, sometimes with the goalie interference, it's tough to read night to night. But at the same time, games they don't generally come down to one play. There were a lot of factors in that one. I think if you're looking at it too, first from the Panthers' perspective last night, going back to the initial point, Paul Maurice said post-game last night, they didn't love their game. He didn't love the start. But at the end of it, the Panthers only lost the game 2-1. They were able to get more traction as the game went along. Boston's first period last night might have been one of their stronger periods they've had in the series to this point. But it took some heroics from Jeremy Swayman, the Boston goaltender, especially late, to help preserve that 2-1 win for the Bruins. And again, even though the Panthers weren't thrilled with it overall, they still only lost the game 2-1 and still had multiple opportunities, and especially one golden opportunity from Sam Reinhart with about 10 seconds to go, where Jeremy Swayman had to make a humongous save. They still had opportunities, and they were still right there. Big difference in the game was Boston's both penalty kill units were really good. The Bruins managed to go 4 for 4 on the penalty kill last night, which was pretty instrumental in the way that things ultimately played out. But I think that's the big takeaway, is that even though the Panthers weren't totally thrilled with their game, they were still right there. It was still close right to the very end. If I'm looking at it from the Boston perspective, Trevor, at your question there, I think the first thing we've noticed is that Jeremy Swayman, more often than not, is going to give them a chance to win. If there's one thing we're learning about the Boston Bruins throughout these playoffs, is that Jeremy Swayman is becoming the guy for them, and he is going to be the guy for them, you would think, between the pipes for potentially the better part of the next decade, the way that he looks right now. I think he's emerged as the number one, and it's that he's going to give them a chance every single night. they were able to get to their overall game last night, maybe more in stretches than they have during the series to this point, the Boston Bruins, that is. And Charlie McAvoy scored the eventual game winner, and he really hadn't factored into anything. I know he's a defenseman, but they do rely on him for offense. He really hadn't factored into anything offensively for the Boston Bruins during the series so far. So that was big for him to get on the score sheet and ultimately help push the Bruins over the top. But my big takeaway is that if the Boston Bruins, they were happy with their game last night. We were just talking about it, Jameson Olive and I, on our on the Territory Talk podcast. There's going to be a new episode of that coming out pretty soon here, probably at some point today. But we were just talking about that. The Bruins were happy about their game, but if that's the ceiling of their game, then the Panthers should like their chances going into Boston on Friday night, where again they've had success. Oddly enough, the road team is 4-1 in the series to this point. Usually doesn't work out that way. I'll always take home ice advantage if I have the opportunity to get it. But the road teams are 4-1 through 5 games in this series. Kind of a statistical oddity there. So the Panthers will try and keep that trend going on Friday night.
Yeah, and the Panthers, overall have been the better team in the series. Obviously, last night being an exception to that. So what do they need to get back to, Doug? I know that the Bruins definitely, they played with more desperation in Game 5, and that's big reason for me why they were able to force a Game 6. So what do the Panthers need to get back to? What needs to change going from Game 5 to 6?
Yeah, Alex, desperation can be sometimes an X factor in a game and sometimes something that you can't even quantify. And we did see desperation from Boston in Game 5. As far as the Panthers go, you just look at the way Game 5 played out compared to the rest of the series. The Bruins throughout the first 4 games had a hard time getting pucks to the net. There were some stretches where, and he's done an outstanding job of being ready when his number's been called, but there have been some lulls in the action for Sergei Bobrovsky in the Panthers net. At times there have been, it feels like, minutes where he really hasn't had to even be alert. The Panthers have really been able to suppress Boston's shots and chances overall. So I think if they can get back to that, the Panthers puck possession game will keep the Bruins from possessing the puck, obviously, and from being able to get those chances. If the Panthers can just get in and, again, as we talk about so often, make things difficult on the Boston defense and on their transition game, that could lead to success for the Panthers in the offensive end. Early in the series, and when I say early, I mean games 2, 3, and 4, which were all wins for the Panthers. They really didn't give the Boston Bruins much of anything in the way of real estate in the offensive end. I think in those 3 games, David Pastrnak, who's as elite a goal scorer as you have in the National Hockey League, I think he may have had 1 or 2 high danger scoring chances as far as that metric is concerned. So the Panthers not only were able to clamp down on the Bruins as a whole, but they were able to really limit their most dangerous and far and away most dangerous offensive player. And he's a good enough player that you put him on any lineup in the National Hockey League and he would almost immediately anywhere he goes be one of, if not the most dangerous offensive player on the team. He's a force, and the Panthers haven't really given him or his teammates much of anything. I think if they get back to, like I said, the puck possession game and the shot suppression that they had games 2, 3, and 4, you certainly like their chances going into Game 6. As I mentioned, the Panthers have been good on the road. Paul Maurice was just talking about it on the media availability we were on a few moments ago, but Paul Maurice said that their game travels well. They play hard. They play a style that is something you can have success with at home, on the road. They compete hard every single night. That's what you're always going to get. And again, that's something that never goes out of style, and that's something that's going to translate from home ice to the road. So the Boston Bruins also, interestingly enough, have never in their century-long franchise history, knock on wood, they haven't ever won a series when they've been down 3-1. So the Panthers look to keep that trend going come Friday night. Panthers would love to just take care of business, get this thing done. And hey, potentially, depending on how the Rangers and the Carolina Hurricanes series goes, if Carolina can come all the way back and force a Game 7, that Game 7 would be on Saturday night. There's a possibility if the Panthers can get this thing done on Friday, they could maybe get a little bit of a rest advantage over whoever the next round opponent would be.
Who would match up better for the Panthers? Is it the Rangers or the Hurricanes? And has it been huge that Brad Marchand? Do you think we see Marchand coming back for Game 6? Or because I've been heard it's an upper body, but I've been also heard it's concussion. So up in Boston, what's the status on that? And who do you think the Panthers would match up better with? I would personally think the Rangers would be a better atmosphere and a better game, honestly, and a better series versus the original 6 team.
Well, first things first, as far as this series is concerned, I know no specifics on Brad Marchand. Reports said that he was on the ice with them yesterday. I was not at their morning skate. So, you always wish for the health of the players, and, you don't want to see anybody get injured. So just the fact that he was back onto the ice, that's good news there. As far as his status goes, uncertain, and Jim Montgomery has been incredibly close to the vest with everything throughout the series. I mean, we haven't even known who the starting goaltenders have been for the Boston Bruins until the teams come out for warm-ups. So I wouldn't expect to know anything for certain on that until at the earliest after morning skate on Friday, or potentially all the way up until warm-ups on Friday night before Game 6. But he's a huge, not only offensive player for the Boston Bruins, but Brad Marchand is their captain for a reason, and obviously means a ton to them. So again, we'll see how things go, but it's hard to get a read on that at all because I don't know the situation and in terms of how things are progressing, what the injury even truly is, and Jim Montgomery has been really close to the vest on that, as any coach would be with a player like that leading up to the game. So we'll just have to wait and see. As for the matchup, they're both really good teams. As far as I'm concerned, going into these Stanley Cup playoffs, I might have tabbed, just in terms of roster construction, I might have tabbed the Panthers, the Hurricanes, and the Rangers, and just as the top tier of contenders, not only in the Eastern Conference and the National Hockey League, just in terms of roster construction. To me, these are you throw the Dallas Stars in, what they've been able to do. I think those are the 4 best rosters in the NHL. We'll see how it all plays out. The Panthers obviously have a history with the Carolina Hurricanes going back to the playoff series that they played against each other last spring, and the Panthers had success there, albeit in 4 really close games. The Panthers had some success against the New York Rangers during this regular season. Even though the Rangers went on to be the President's Trophy winners by a pretty slim margin, the Panthers looked good against them during the season. I think any matchup would be compelling. Any one would be entertaining. And I think that, whoever the Panthers play, they're equipped to be able to come out on top. I don't think that there's one that would be more favorable than the other, just because I think those are 2 absolutely elite teams that are, again, not only contenders for a conference championship, but those are 2 teams that have rosters capable of winning a Stanley Cup. I always say I'll take any matchup because that means that you're in the matchup. So we'll leave it at that.
Doug Plagans, radio voice of the Florida Panthers, is with us. You're going to hear him on the call Friday, whatever exact time they assign to that game. Doug will be on the call here on WQAM. And Doug, going back to Boston for Game 6, what's on the menu? Where do you want to eat before that game?
The menu, yeah. So it's interesting. Boston is a renowned restaurant city, but I don't really have go-tos in Boston. I have a number of different places that I enjoy. Oddly enough, Alex, this isn't exactly breaking any ground, and this isn't exactly a regionally exclusive establishment, but I've found myself at the Cheesecake Factory a lot in Boston because they just have an inviting, they just have an inviting bar set up, and if you're just looking for something to eat and you know what you're going to get, it's consistent, it's always good, and they have literally everything. I don't know how they do it.
That's true.
At Cheesecake Factory. It's all good, but the menu's like 10 miles long. You sometimes need to take a bookmark so you can stop reading, take a breather, and then go back to the menu later on. But they always have they have a couple TVs at the bar. It's quiet. It's good. The food's always good. I've been known to pop into the Cheesecake Factory in Boston.
I'll
now,
throw you
here's
some
$1 million.
By the way, my brother lives up there. I'll throw you some restaurants if I can get a hold of them.
But it sounds like he wants Cheesecake Factory. Now, you're a pretty healthy guy. Do you eat the cheesecake or do you skip dessert when you're there?
Well, it depends. Oddly enough, especially if I'm on the road and I happen to pop in by myself, I'm probably not getting the cheesecake because the portions are large, and usually by the time dinner is over with, it's tough to handle the cheesecake. And the thing is, like, I know a lot of people, I'm not touching chowder. I don't do soup. That's in the soup family. There's just no way that's happening. So that's one regional favorite. Hey, if you like chowder, great. I don't. I'm not going to have any, and it doesn't appeal to me, so I'm not going to eat that. I don't do soup or anything in the soup family. But there are places that specialize in that. I'm not a big like oyster guy, and I know that's one of the big things up there. So I don't really, but they have a lot of great restaurants, and you don't have to just have some of those items to enjoy yourself dining in Boston. It's a city I've truly enjoyed going to over the years. So never have a hard time finding somewhere to eat.
You're not missing anything about oysters. I'm going to tell you that as someone who grew up in New England area. You're
I
not.
love oysters. Actually, I'm a big. I know it's an acquired taste because they look weird and they're slimy. But I put the horseradish sauce on there, squeeze some lemon. I know it's not for everyone, but I do enjoy.
Yeah, it's not my thing. I'm a big texture guy with my food, and I don't. It just doesn't do it for me. But and then with soup, Alex, you and I over the years have been over this numerous times. But I just don't need my food floating or submerged in flavored water. Thanks for just no thanks on that.
So the streak of not what was it? 96 was the last time you had soup. The streak is still alive.
Yes, it's getting to be a Ripken-like streak at this point in time. But 1996, late in the calendar year, winter 96, bad incident, never had soup again.
I love it. Well, Doug Plagans does an incredible job calling hockey games. Of course, he will have it for you guys Friday night, Game 6 between the Florida Panthers and Boston Bruins. Doug, thank you so much for the time, and enjoy the cheesecake if you have it.
That's one of these days. Yes, maybe I'll have cheesecake this time. We'll see. But it's sounding pretty good the more we talk about it. So maybe I will just have to get some, even if I'm not even hungry. Maybe I'll just have to get some anyways. Thanks for having me, guys, and enjoy Game 6. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Doug. Yeah, I got to say it's funny because like anytime people bring up Cheesecake Factory, like the actual cheesecake, it's very controversial because I always I get in these discussions with people all the time. It's like no. Their cheesecake is terrible. I make better cheesecake, or my aunt makes this amazing cheesecake. It's like, hold on. But does she make a s'mores cheesecake? Does she make an Oreo dream? Like, I'm guessing your aunt is probably making some plain, boring ass cheesecake with just, the standard flavor. The thing that I like about the Cheesecake Factory cheesecake, Trevor, is it's like all of your, like adolescent or like even before that, like 7-year-old fat kid fantasies of any, you can get anything in that cheesecake. Your aunt is not making that.
You're right about that, boss. I'll say that.
Dude.
I have been to a Cheesecake Factory since I was in California in 2006, by the way.
I actually, we just went because it's one of those like, I'm not going to say it's like some incredible culinary experience. Like I do enjoy to go to like non-chain restaurants, but it's a good, like I've got a 6-year-old who's a very picky eater. And like Doug said, they've got literally everything on their menu. Like I know I can get, there's only like 3 foods he likes, and the Cheesecake Factory has all of those. So yeah, so I'm good to go. We were there like a month ago, I think.
There we go.
Oh man, so all right, we continue. I want to talk about a little more about the schedule release that's coming out tonight, and also we're going to be talking throughout the show about what the Jared Goff extension, what that means for Tua and the Miami Dolphins, as they're still working on something, that long-term extension for QB1 for Mr. Uno. You want to keep it locked right here, AM 560 Sports, WQAM.
and to let you thrive. But that's the modern world we now live in. And that is the future of a sports content creator. And that is where we continue to drive, become better and better and better than what we've already done. I will throw it open for Q&A if anybody has it. We have the channel managers all in the other room. I see there's a bunch of comments going on the right, which I did not have up because I didn't want to be distracted, which I strongly suggest you all do when you do your YouTube videos also, because I watch shows all the time and watch you all get distracted by chats. So I turned mine off for the last hour so I can stay focused on what I want to talk about. So at least I'm doing what I say. Jeff Snyder, I did not sabotage him, and I never will. It will never happen. Anybody have any questions? Anything open on Q&A? Throw it in the chat. Like to? Ross Jackson, you're welcome to step in the screen. You know, we don't have to hide. Yeah, no one's coming in. No one's coming in. I'm not one-two in connection with any of you. Then we will wrap it. You're the best. And thank you again. For those that joined late, I want to wrap up with the same numbers I started with. And that is, there's 22 of you out there that were with us by the end of 2016. There are 36 of you that were with us by the end of 2017. 19 NBA hosts and 17 NFL hosts. 54 of all of our NFL hosts were with us before at the end of 2018. 72% at the end of 2019. 51% of our hosts were with us pre-COVID. You're incredible. 67% of all of our hosts, and think about this for a second. Think about how many shows we have added since then, because they cannot, it was impossible for most of our college shows to actually be with us pre-2021 because they actually didn't exist yet. So 67% of our hosts, including all the shows we added post-2021, were with us by the end of 2020.
Do have some breaking news this hour on Dolphins schedule release. We're going to get the full description of it tonight, or around 8 p.m. They're going to unveil the entire schedule. But we know now, Trevor, the Miami Dolphins will be playing on Thanksgiving Day. Thanksgiving in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Jordan Love against Tua Tagovailoa. It's going to be in the night slot because obviously the Lions and the Cowboys always get the around noon and 4 p.m. slot. So Dolphins at Packers is going to be 8:20 p.m. Thanksgiving night. You remember a new holiday tradition? They played the Packers on Christmas Day a couple of years ago. Tua suffered that concussion we didn't find about until afterwards, going up against Aaron Rodgers. Green Bay won that game. This time it's going to be Tua in Green Bay against Jordan Love, and that's going to be fun because and these are both quarterbacks who they're going to be talking about new contracts with. Tua, I think is probably a little bit more advanced in those talks because we just don't have as much tape on Love. Like Love has one season as a starter. Tua has had 4 full years now in the NFL, heading into that 5th-year option. But we do know we're going to get Dolphins, Packers on Thanksgiving Day, and I'm here for it, man. And I like the night game because I've already kicked all the relatives out of my house by then, and I can really focus on that night game.
So I spent the last couple of Thanksgivings alone, so I appreciate the night game a lot because I never appreciate.
Nobody loves you.
It's because all my family members are in up north anyway, so it's like I appreciate that game, so I can just be on my couch and just have a few couple beers and stuff, or go to a bar or something that's open usually. So. I'm glad it's two teams that are likable and watchable at least, but I will say this. I just hope both teams have a good record because I don't want two terrible teams like last year on especially that middle game of Thanksgiving last year, the Commandos and the Cowboys. That was a pretty boring game.
Yeah. I think I fell asleep during most of that game because I remember watching the Lions game and I had some fantasy players from Detroit and
they didn't show up.
Was it Lions Eagles?
Lions Packers.
That's right.
Yeah, so I would like to have some watchable football this year, especially in the late window and the middle windows. I hope. All I don't want is Eagles Cowboys Thanksgiving. I don't need that. That's when Trevor's gonna be miserable. You know what?
Well, speaking of, you're the big Eagles fan at the station.
Yeah.
Giants on Hard Knocks. Does that do anything for you? I mean, division rival. Like anytime like a Dolphins division. Obviously, I like when the Dolphins are on. I know Dolphin fans hate it because they're like, that's the reason why we lose games because it's such a distraction. Whatever. I enjoyed the in-season Hard Knocks last year. You can blame injuries more than you can blame being on Hard Knocks for what happened down the stretch of the year. But I enjoy when division rivals are on, like when the Jets have been on Hard Knocks. It's interesting to get an inside look at your division rivals. Do you feel that way about the G-Men being on there?
The Gigantes. As someone who been up there, I've known they've been a dumpster fire ever since Eli Manning has retired. Yeah. And seeing the Dave Gettleman era, the Joe Shane era, I know they're a dumpster fire. Seeing it up front and personal is gonna be entertaining. The Eagles are on. Remember the Amazon series All or Nothing? I
didn't watch it. Like, there's just enough is enough. Like, it's one thing. I've been watching Hard Knocks for like 20 plus years, so it's like a routine for me. Now you're adding like different documentaries on different streaming services. Like, enough is. I had to adapt to this in-season Hard. The only time I actually watched it, I don't know how many years they've been doing it, but I watched the Dolphins in-season Hard Knocks. I didn't watch the previous in-season one.
The Cardinals one was actually entertaining. I like that.
Really?
One. Yeah.
The Dolphins one was pretty good.
I was out by episode 3, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, I'm bored. I'm not going to watch this. This is not getting on my DVR. The Cardinals were entertaining. The Colts were entertaining because I just want to see Carson Wentz be a complete awful person anyways. And I'm hoping this year it'll be like, I wish we went for the Bears for Hard Knocks, honestly. I know the Giants are a sexy name. They didn't make the playoffs last year. I think the Bears they've missed the playoffs the last 3 seasons. They should be on the front page of Hard Knocks. Caleb Williams, hello, get him out there. Yeah. I want to see everyone has a mic in front of his mouth and see what he's going to say anyways.
Because he's strange, Caleb Williams.
Yes.
Like he's not he's not like your typical prototypical quarterback speak guy. Like he's probably going to say something really weird. So yeah, I'm all for that. I'd love to have that dude on Hard Knocks.
Giants have no one weird or funny at all. When you look at their roster, who's funny and weird?
Tommy Cutlets, man.
Besides him, like a third string quarterback, you need like a star who's kind of weird. Jay Cutler, entertaining, always entertaining no matter what. Yeah. Like, who do you have on the Giants? Absolutely nobody. So that's how I feel. It will not be appointment watching television, but it will be I want to see what the radio people are going to say about up north anyways.
Dude, when Jay Cutler was in Miami, this was like during a time when I covered every practice. Like I don't currently do that, but at various points in my career, I cover every practice. I was there with all the beat guys, and
Yeah.
he was, as awful as he was on the field, very entertaining to cover. And it's
Yeah.
like I kind of understood, like when people talk about these media like, okay, Jay Cutler, he couldn't convince me he was still a good quarterback at that point, but I probably did give him more favorable coverage than I could have because he was a delight to cover. So like when people talk about, oh, well, the media only hypes this XYZ player and coach up because they enjoy covering them. I guess I can understand where that comes from. Like, I could never go on a show and be like, yeah, I think Jay Cutler is still, a Super Bowl winning quarterback. No, Jay Cutler at that point was a thief. He came in here to steal $10 million, but he was fun to cover.
Yes, the only bad part was I give this bad part for Miami a lot. Not having the Jay Cutler show continue. That was the best weekly radio spot of all time. The Jay Cutler show that Waddle and Sylvia ever did. That was the most. I have friends who are Bears fans and say like nothing will live up to the Jay Cutler show. Like if there's a Caleb Williams show, give me a year at least. I hope it's entertaining at least. So that's what we hope for here.
We got the 1 o'clock hour of Tobin and Leroy coming up, and people, they're asking because they're very angry to see me and not Tobin and Leroy, and they're angry to
you're not
see
the only one. They all hate
Trevor.
me here. They want somebody in the chat want to throw a drink at me anyways. I've had one Miami fan want to do it to me at a random Marlins Cubs game last year. So
well, do yourself a favor, like go fill up a cup in the coffee machine there, and just throw it in your own face, and just you can let the Twitchers live vicariously. But so Tobin and Leroy did not quit, like they didn't get fired. They're at which I'm a little bit bitter about this. I'm not gonna lie. They're at a I guess there's a company party that me and Trevor didn't get invited to.
I got invited. I was about to say yes, and Len texted me. It's like, "Could you work from noon to 7?" I'm like, I'm down. I'll take the.
Now how did the invite? Did the invite come to like the company email, which I don't check? Is that okay? So maybe I was invited. All right.
Always, it's like I've always have your work email on your phone.
Yeah.
It makes so much life easier.
Thing is, like, here's the thing, man. I work like 4 jobs, and I only actually bother to check like one of the company emails, and it's the company that my primary source of income comes from.
Okay.
So I don't allow my inbox to get that flooded. So I was about to complain about not being invited to the company party, but I think I was.
I was ready to say yes to it. That I got, and then Len texted me. Like, you want to work? I was like, I'm down.
Yeah.
I need to lay out some takes anyways for you guys. So some Miami.
That's true, man. This is way more fun than a company. What are they doing? I went to a company party here a couple years ago. I remember and I am a fan of this. Like there was a tug of war, which was kind of enjoyable. And there was a keg of Funky Buddha, which was also very enjoyable. Although Crowder, I think, drank the entire keg. I didn't get very much of that.
Okay.
But I think I'd still rather be here right now. All right, we got the 1 o'clock hour of Tobin and Leroy coming up next year on AM 560 Sports WQAM.
WQAM broadcasting live from the Ed Moore Sawgrass Auto Mall Studios. Shop massive savings.
1 o'clock hour here of Tobin and Leroy show. Alex Donno, Trevor Harris filling in for the guys. They left early for the big company party, and Hawk and Crowder, they just decided to take the day off completely. Not very good work ethic from those guys. But we're gonna be I'm gonna be with you guys until 4. And then Josh Appel, who is awesome, is going to be around from 4 to 6 p.m. to wrap up the Hawk and Crowder show. If you want to get in, share your infinite wisdom with us on the Kendall Toyota, West Kendall Toyota text line. That is open at 305-567-0560. That's 305-567-0560. So again, the news from this past hour is we know another part of the Miami Dolphins schedule. We already knew Dolphins are going to take on the Bills. We already knew this week 2 Thursday night football, which sucks because you play the Bills at home in September, but it's going to be at night, which takes away, most of that big humidity advantage. And now we know the Dolphins are going to be on the road on Thanksgiving night to take on Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers. Tua versus Love on Thanksgiving. And I'm sure we'll have more leaks throughout the day. We'll find out the full deal tonight. But what else is going on, Trevor? Give us some headlines.
These headlines are sponsored by the new Palmetto Ford. Why buy your truck at a car store? Palmetto Ford. We know trucks. The top story in South Florida sports: Panthers lose 2-1 into the Bruins. Panthers are still up 3-2. Game 6 is Friday. We're still waiting for our time anyway, so we're just waiting on the Avs and Stars game, which is the big game tonight, 8 o'clock on ESPN. I know everyone's been watching these. The West series has been entertaining. I'll tell you that for sure. I've been watching the Stars Avs series. I've been watching the Edmonton Vancouver series. It's been bonkers, by the way. No goaltending in that series at all at Edmonton.
Oh, so it's like the opposite of our series then.
Yeah, no goaltending at all. No goal. Like the Vancouver's on their third string goalie, and Edmonton's goalie can't stop a beach ball right now. It's bad. And Edmonton won with like 45 seconds left last night in regulation. To tie up.
We'll see if the Panthers can punch their ticket to the Eastern Conference Finals on Friday. And by the way, I mentioned earlier that part of the Dolphins schedule release. They're going to be at Green Bay on Thanksgiving. We're going to be talking some Dolphins in about 15 minutes with Alfredo Arteaga from 3 Yards Per Carry podcast. I think it's the top Dolphins podcast. Alfredo's been a buddy of mine for years, and he's going to break that thing down, and he's also going to break down the possible Tua Tagovailoa extension and how Jared Goff's $53 million per season is going to impact those contract negotiations with Tua. So we'll have that coming up at around 1:20. Alfredo Arteaga from 3 Yards Per Carry is going to join us.
Definitely for sure. Definitely tune into that, all you football fans. All right. MLB Marlins Tigers. They're going to try to go for the split. The Marlins, they play at 1:10, so you have a little afternoon.
Oh, 2 minutes.
Action, yo. I like to say.
What's the betting line, Phil? What's the move? Do I bet against the Marlins, or do I live bet the Marlins if they take a lead and I live bet
the under? Last night was it's been awful runs, by the way. No, the first game was 5-3 Tigers. Last night was 1-0. We are going to take the under in this game, honestly. And your pitching matchup for the Marlins and Detroit Tigers is as we are loading up right now. It is top of the first right now. We have Mize for Detroit. He's the pitcher for Detroit, and we have can I find a starter for the Marlins. Wow, this is bad by me. So get ready for Marlins and Tigers. Just interesting baseball action, I like to say, for a daytime or for getaway day for the Marlins and Tigers.
I'm ready. Anything else going on?
You mentioned earlier the Giants are now on the Hard Knocks for this coming years for training camp, so get ready for that. Dolphins Bills week 2 Thursday night football. We have our international games: Jets Vikings in London, Bears Jaguars, and Pats Jaguars all in London, Eagles Packers in Brazil. We have a Germany game in Carolina and the New York Football Giants. Schedule release tonight, 8 o'clock on ESPN2. So
is this the first Brazil game? Because I know we've I thought so, right? Because I know we've done Mexico before. We dabbled into Germany last year.
Mexico we've done 3 times. It was
Cardinals
and Niners in 2005 and 20. I think it was 19 or 20 or 1. They did it. It was 22. And the Raiders Patriots, we did that in 17. We've done Germany, London, and now we're going to Brazil. So I have friends who
Do
are
it.
asking me, "Are you going?" I was like, "No, I'm good on this one, honestly. No international games for me."
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. It's like seems like the quality of the talent in Brazil is pretty good from what I understand. So do some sightseeing down there.
For sure. Everyone I've been told is everyone's staying in the one of the beach cities, and they're going
Oh
to the
yeah.
beach. That's what everyone's
Yeah.
doing, so that's what
Yeah.
I've been told by my people and stuff. Other than that, yeah, it's a Wednesday, and there's playoff hockey, there's NBA action, the Celtics and the Cavs are tonight as well, and yeah, it's a very slow slate today, I like to say in
I
sports.
was listening to my guy Hollywood and Omar this morning, and like Hollywood was like being very careful talking about this, how in his words, how captivated he's been watching Jalen Brunson in the New York Knicks, because he knew, like, just by saying that he would be catching strays from Heat fans, like how dare you be captivated. I mean, once they run into the Celtics, it's going to be a rude awakening. But all these 40 burgers that Brunson is putting up, like, I get it, and that's a great place to be doing that, because when you find any modicum of basketball success in New York, who
You're a
they
god.
haven't won a championship since 1973, you're right, you become a god. Like if you Jeremy Lin was the hottest name in sports for like 2 weeks because he had a few good games there, and it was Lin's sanity. Yeah, I think Jalen Brunson's a lot better than Jeremy Lin, by the way. But I mean, that if you're going to catch fire, that's a good place to do it, because the delusional New York sports fans, they're going to prop you up and hype you up. And so, all right, listen, Hollywood, you can be captivated by watching these Knicks. Don't expect to see them in the NBA Finals, but at the same time, yeah, they went farther than my Heat went. So there's that.
The Knicks did win 121-91. The Nuggets came down from 2-0. They are now up 3-2 on the Minnesota
That's a team.
Timberwolves.
Oh. Jokić.
What team are you enjoying more? The Timberwolves or the Nuggets' success more? I got to ask you. Because right now, I'm not enjoying the Timberwolves because I just don't like their owner, how they just took the team away from A-Rod again.
Yeah. Listen, the only argument that you would make, like, in the favor of the Timberwolves is, like, the Nuggets have been there and they just won. So it's like, are they on the verge of a dynasty, which I know some people like, but a lot of people claim, I don't want to see them win it again. Yeah, I feel like Jokić gets a lot of hate, despite the fact that, okay, he's pretty obviously, to me, the best player in the NBA right now. And like, people don't think he should have won the MVP, but it's like, okay, you don't think that guy should have won the MVP with what he did this year? So I think a lot of people are anti-Nugget.
Is it because, here's my little take on the Nuggets. Is it because we were promised so much with the Nuggets of Carmelo Anthony, and we just don't know how to react to this Nuggets team? Because we hyped up that Denver Nuggets team in the mid-2000s with like Carmelo Anthony, Chauncey Billups.
Yeah.
And we just don't want to do it to this team with Jamal Murray. And are we just forgetting the Carmelo Anthony era of Denver Nuggets basketball?
I don't know. So you think Carmelo poisoned the well for Jokić like 10 plus years later?
I've heard like basketball Twitter is like when they see an old throwback Nuggets jersey at 15. Oh, no, it's a throwback.
Yeah.
It's a throwback Jokić jersey. Like, no, it's Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah, it's Carmelo. Yeah.
So I'm really not liking the new NBA fan, honestly, ignoring the previous history of certain teams.
I also think, it's not like Denver NBA. It's not like a glamour market. It's not a great historical team. So I don't know, man. Maybe just people don't give them their due. And like, and when the best player in the league is, a foreigner, I think that there's some of that comes into play. So I don't know if it's Carmelo's fault, but yeah, I mean, definitely there is some of that with the Nuggets.
It's also when you look at Denver, it's like football's king there, then the Avs.
Oh, yeah.
Broncos, Avs. Then the Nuggets and Rockies fight it out for the rest. Then the lacrosse team, too.
Yeah, do you think anybody on Denver sports radio is trying to say this is no longer Elway's town? This is Jokić town now?
I think I could ask someone that if you want me to. I'll ask my boy D-Mac.
I mean, people have those discussions down here with Dwayne Wade and Marino, which I think it's a really stupid manufactured sports radio discussion. It's like, why can't we just agree that they're both incredible? We were really lucky to have them both. Like, they play different sports. Why does one guy have to be better than the other? But I wonder if they will ever do that in Denver. By the way, I got a text from Hollywood who says, "Be careful, sensitive fans." It's like he was treading lightly when he talked about being captivated by the New York Knicks. Like, I could hear the fear in his own voice when he was saying that this morning. And I'm like, you know what? it's okay to be captivated by the enemy. I mean, we both know they're not winning a championship, which is the
No,
most
I
important
just want
thing.
them in the Eastern Conference Final. I think a Celtics Knicks Eastern Conference Final. I just want both delusional the green team Celtic fans and the delusional Knicks fans, anyways. Green teamers is a team for term for you, by the way, for all your locals down here. It's
Okay.
the obnoxious Celtic fan that agrees with everything from Tommy Heinsohn, Mike Gorman, Scalabrine, and Chris Forsberg. By the way,
I hate Scalab. What an idiot! And that's
I
the,
love
the other thing. When we get that Celtics Knicks series, the old school Heat fan in me is gonna want to see the Knicks lose because I go back to the 90s with the Heat, and so those feelings that I had about the Knicks never go away. But the newer school Heat fan, the Knicks are not really a rival. The Celtics are the rival. Like the Heat haven't had any real meaningful playoff series with the Knicks since like 1999 or 2000 when they had that string of all that hatred together. Like I still remember that stuff like it was yesterday. But the new school Heat fans, the Celtics are that team. So probably a lot of the new school Heat fans will be rooting for the Knicks to beat the Celtics. I don't know where I stand. I probably still want the Knicks to lose because it's
let's
gonna
put
be
it
a
on a
tough one.
poll.
I may just not watch that series. I'm gonna boycott. I'll just watch hockey.
Hey, join me in the boycott. I've been boycotting the NBA playoffs with the Heat's done anyways. Like I don't want to watch anymore. So
Are you one of those people who's just because I know a lot of people who are just like, I can't watch the NBA. The whole thing is rigged. It's
I'm not the
terrible.
rigged
College
guy. I just don't
basketball is
wanna-
so much better.
As someone who grew up going to college basketball games,
Yeah.
Villanova, Georgetown, and Villanova, UConn, and going to cheap tickets for St. John's UConn games, I always appreciate the cheap tickets more. I always enjoy that. It's like for me, an NBA game was like I don't want to watch the Jim O'Brien led Celtics or the Larry Brown Knicks or awful Celtic teams of the 90s and 2000s. Honestly, let's be honest, or the irrelevant New Jersey Nets. By the way, the Vince Carter's getting his number retired by the New Jersey Nets. By the way,
It's probably yeah. I still think of him as a Raptor. That's kind of a weird move.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he had some decent years there, but he's a Raptor to me. And it's funny because like the people, and I do know a lot of people, handful of guys who are like very strongly against the NBA because they think it's rigged. And these same people have like Undertaker and Stone Cold Steve Austin posters in their basement. It's like, well, hold on, like it's okay to watch that rigged thing, which I guess maybe because that one's out in the open, everybody knows it's rigged. But we're going to talk some Dolphins, talk some NFL. Alfredo Arteaga, Alf from the 3 Yards Per Carry podcast, which is fantastic. He's going to be joining us next. Talk some Dolphins. We've had some schedule leaks. We've got a Tua Tagovailoa negotiation unfolding. You want to keep it locked right here. AM 560 Sports, WQAM.
WQAM, broadcasting live from the Edmore Sawgrass Auto Mall Studios. Edmore
We know Thanksgiving night, we're going to see our Dolphins. We know Thursday night, week 2, we're going to see the Dolphins taking on Buffalo. Let's talk some Dolphins with Alfredo Arteaga, who does just an unbelievable job on the 3 Yards Per Carry podcast through the 5 Reasons Sports Network. I've had the privilege of knowing Alfredo and talking Dolphins with him for the past several years. Alf, how you doing, sir?
Doing great. Just, following all these leaks that are building this schedule piece by piece.
Is there anything else? Like I mentioned, week 2, home against Buffalo for a Thursday night, Thanksgiving at Green Bay evening to take on the Packers. Are there any other Dolphin-specific dates people are talking about that have been leaked that I've missed?
Well, everybody's just leaking pretty much the entire schedule. It seems like some New York Jets beat writers think that the Jets are coming to Miami week 18. Some Jacksonville beat writers think that Jacksonville's coming to Miami week 1. And Buffalo is going to be at home week 9 at 1 p.m. against the Dolphins. And, of course, we know Green Bay Thanksgiving Day. So, it's trickling in. It's probably all, BS, but we shall see. We shall see later on tonight.
When's the real question is, when's the Niners and the Dolphin game going to be? Is that going to be a Sunday night game or is that going to be a Monday night game? That's the real question people are asking me anyways down here in Miami, as of all my buddies are Niner fans.
It seems like, just the writing that's currently on the wall is that it's just going to be a 4:00 game here in Miami. It'll be nationally televised, but it will not be a Sunday night game or a Monday night game. That's the original indication.
So I want to go back to something that you said, Alf, about because we already know Dolphins home against the Bills is going to be week 2, but it's going to be a night game, so that's going to negate a lot of the the humidity and the sunshine and all that. So you're saying that one of those alleged leaks has been the road game in Buffalo would be week 9, which I imagine is probably October. So if that's the case, do you think both the Dolphins and Bills probably lobbied to avoid the worst possible weather in either spot, and this could be the compromise that they came to?
If this is the compromise that they came to, Miami came out way ahead because last year Thursday night football home teams were 11-4. So it's a built-in advantage there. I always felt that Thursday night football home games were unfair, and you should never have any division games on Thursday night football.
Agreed.
It's just an inherently unfair advantage. So Buffalo has to come in here on a short week for a big rivalry game early in the season, which should suggest that Miami should be healthy for that game. So that's a huge disadvantage. And then they're playing Buffalo in what seems like the first week of November. I've looked at the average weather the first week of November in Buffalo, and it's essentially 55 degrees and up, 65 degrees. Last year, I believe it was 70 degrees.
It very depends as someone from who's up north anyways. It very depends on the weather in Buffalo. You may get snow or you may get mild temperatures. So
I would still take that over December any day.
Yeah. Although somebody on OnlyFans, our Discord, pointed out that it hasn't snowed the first week in November in Buffalo in, I think, 26 years. So that's a good sign.
Yeah. It depends where it's at usually. As someone who's been, I went up there once for an Eagles-Bills game, and it was like snow. It was snow flurries and raining cold and freezing rain. So the worst weather I've ever seen for a game.
Well, it's Buffalo. You're going to get some terrible weather there. And so, so Alfredo, outside of moving on from this schedule stuff, and we're going to find the full reveal later on tonight. Big topic among Dolphin fans is a potential settlement. We know that there surely are negotiations going on. Not a settlement, but a potential extension settlement. I'm thinking conference realignment and all these lawsuits, but a negotiation for an extension for Tua Tagovailoa. So we found out earlier this week what Jared Goff is getting with Detroit. Do you think that Goff's new contract, how is that going to impact the Tua negotiations? And what do you think the timeline might be there?
I think it'll happen before the season kicks off. And I would tell fans, don't worry about the total number. It's probably going to be a little bit more than what Goff got. But pay attention to what the average part of the salary cap is for any of these deals in the first year. You have Burrow on the high end at 26% and Goff on the low end at 20%. So I would say look at Jalen Hurts' contract. okay, the one that he signed last year that made him the highest paid player in football, if you pay attention to that contract, it's just a series of roster bonuses that they convert into signing bonuses every single year. And the first 4 years of that deal keeps his percentage of the salary cap at around 10%, which allows the Eagles to keep adding players around him for the first 4 years. And then you say, well, but then the bill comes due in 5 years. Well, yeah, when the bill comes due in 5 years, you just extend that number into the void years. And you just keep circumventing the salary cap that way. It's a nice little feature that the salary cap has. And all you have to do is have the conviction on your quarterback that he's going to be around here for a long time. And there's two teams that currently structured their deals that way, and that's the Chiefs and the Eagles. And they will both reap the benefits of it as they add players around those two guys going forward. There's no reason to believe that Tua is going to be anything other than a top 10 quarterback. And if he is that top 10 quarterback, you structure a deal similarly to what they did with Jalen Hurts, and that's going to allow you to keep players around him.
Yeah, which is the important thing. And Tua is not stupid. Like, he knows that he's going to need weapons in order to succeed. Like, he's not just going to want to. And obviously, like you said, there are ways with this salary cap to get him what he wants while also having that flexibility, which is important. The salary cap is complicated, but Tua is not dumb, Alf. Like, he knows, if I enjoy playing with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and now I have Odell Beckham as well. Like, he wants to be surrounded by weapons. He doesn't want to take up the entirety of that cap.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's what they will do. If you look at Jalen Hurts' cap hit for this year, it is, I'm looking it up right now, it's somewhere around $6.5 million. It's less than what Cedric Wilson's cap hit was last year.
It's also less than Dak Prescott's cap hit too, by the way. Check that out.
Well, that was a mistake, okay? In fact, I have the numbers right in front of me, okay? Jalen Hurts' cap hit last year was $6 million. This year, it's $13.5 million. So $13.5 million, it's less than what Jalen Waddle's going to get on his fifth-year option. So the Eagles are doing it right. The Cowboys are doing it wrong.
Thank you for stating the obvious. What's the biggest concern for this Dolphins team? Is it the defense since you guys ran out Fangio out of town, or he didn't want to be here? What's your biggest question mark? I know I always say the offense is king, but what's wrong with this defense, could we say?
I think the defense is plenty talented. I think they improved and upgraded the linebacking core. I think Jordan Brooks is a better player than Jerome Baker, and I was a big Jerome Baker fan. Their only real loss is Christian Wilkins, and they've signed, I think, 15 defensive tackles to take his place. So I guess they're going to have a platooning system there. They're going to try to find some good players to replace Christian Wilkins. But I think they've helped the depth on the edge. And Xavier Howard's a great player and was a great player here. He was just unavailable. Kendall Fuller is as good, and he's healthy, which is a step in the right direction. Jordan Poyer should be an upgrade over DeShaun Elliott, even though he was pretty good last year. So the defense should be improved. It's about what kind of defense they're going to run and what kind of defense Anthony Weaver's going to install.
What do you think he'll install? A 3-4 or a 4-3 style, you think?
Well, it's going to be a hybrid. It's going to be mostly, 3-4 and 4-3 are like things that don't exist anymore, really.
Because they're still doing my book, though. Those win championships anyways. It's going to let you know that.
Yeah. So it's going to be something more like a 3-3. Okay. So it's 3-3-5. So they'll play with 2 edge players, 2 linebackers, 2 defensive tackles. And they're going to be a predominantly cover 3 pressure 5 team, which means they're going to find ways to bring 5 guys in the pass rush consistently and play cover 3 behind them.
Joined here by Alfredo Arteaga from the 3 Yards Per Carry Miami Dolphins podcast. A couple weeks removed from the NFL draft, we just had rookie minicamp. Who stands out to you most from this rookie class?
From this rookie class, man, I'm a big fan of Jalen Wright. I thought he was the best running back on the board. He was my RB1. And I understand that people got to say, this guy was not good and that guy's not good. Well, those are your boards, and those don't matter. On our own podcast, Chris Kaufman had Chop Robinson as his number 2 edge rusher. I argued that I would never take the 4th guy on my board at a position in the first round. I'd want a guy who's a little bit higher on my board. Chop Robinson was my 4th edge rusher, but I don't matter. Okay, what matters is what Chris is. And Chop Robinson's a pretty damn good athlete. The guy I'm really intrigued in seeing is Mo Kamara. I advocated on the podcast that they needed to trade a 2025 third-round pick to get into the fourth round to take Mo Kamara. They actually did that to get Jalen Wright and got Mo Kamara in the fifth round anyway. So Chris Greer beat my thoughts on what they should have done on the draft. So Mo Kamara is the one that I'm interested in really seeing because I think that there's your Andrew Van Ginkel replacement.
What's the biggest thing, would you say, out of these rookies? Who will be the biggest star coming out that we're going to be talking about this whole year? I know Chop Robinson is a highly talented defensive end out of Penn State that Jimmy Cefalo is ready to talk to and give him Penn State stories to. Who is your star that people are not talking about right now in minicamp right now?
Well, last year they finished the season with Mostert on the bench, and then he played, but played injured in the playoff game. Achane missed 6 games. I think you're going to see Jalen Wright get plenty of run this season. They're going to try to keep Mostert's legs healthy and fresh for the playoffs. So I think you're going to see some games that are going to be eye-popping, just like you saw Devon Achane have some bigger games last year. So Jalen Wright's the guy to watch. The guy not to watch is Patrick Paul, because I don't think he's going to play a single snap this year. It's a redshirt year for him, and he has a lot of work to do.
Well, great stuff as always here from Alfredo Arteaga. Let people know where they can find the 3 Yards Per Carry podcast and where they can find you on the very cleverly named OnlyFins.
Okay, if you want to become a member of our OnlyFins Discord, it's very simple. You go to discord.gg/OnlyFins. You can become a member there for $3 a month. If you want to listen to our podcast, you could get our podcast anywhere you get your podcasts, and it's the same anywhere. It's the number 3 Yards Per Carry. Everywhere, Spotify, Apple, Google, wherever you get your podcast.
I appreciate your time, sir. Enjoy the rest of the offseason.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you.
Awesome stuff there from Alfredo. All right, we'll dissect some of that. Also, we got people in the Twitch chat or the YouTube chat. I think it might be the YouTube portion. Wondering if the Heat should bring in Bronny James, who I guess had a viral combine work. I mean, if you bring in Bronny, whoever does that, you're trying to lure Bron, okay? But we have so much more to get to. Tobin and Leroy show. We're going to be wrapping up Tobin and Leroy, but I'm going to be here till 4 o'clock, and then Josh Appel's going to take over from 4 to 6. So I get like the Tobin and Leroy and Hawk and Crowder experience today, which is fantastic. Keep it locked right here to AM 560 Sports WQAM. Big thanks again to Alfredo Arteaga for joining us. So he mentioned some of the other leaks on the Miami Dolphins schedule. We'll see if those leaks get made official tonight. But it definitely the Buffalo thing is really interesting, Trevor, because I was a little annoyed that the home game against the Bills, it's going to be a night game. But as he pointed out, home teams dominate Thursday night football. Home divisional game. Bills have to come down to Miami in a short week. So even though you like to host them in that 1 o'clock humidity if you can, but then Thursday night at home, it's really damn favorable for the Dolphins versus, going to Buffalo, not in December, early January, as a lot of those Dolphin trips up there tend to happen. It's going to be probably first weekend in November. So sure, the weather's not going to be beautiful. It's not going to be postcard weather.
I always say you have 3 cold weather games. When do you think they're going to spread out the Patriot and Jet game? Honestly, that's a better question.
Yeah.
I know those teams are going to be horrendous, especially if the Patriots.
Probably at least one of those is probably going to be like late season bad weather game. But the thing is, I feel like the worst weather you can get at either of those places, while bad, not as bad as the worst weather you can get in Buffalo. Is that fair?
Yeah, I'll give you that. I always say if I have to go worst weather, I go Buffalo 1, Patriots 2. Then because Foxborough gets cold and windy, and we all know the Meadowlands is an empty stadium anyways. It's an air conditioning unit, so it's just windy as always there.
Yeah, I mean it definitely gets bad in Foxborough. Like a lot of people were I was on first couple of days of the week in for Joe Rose with Omar Kelly, and I gave people a history lesson onto the Pilgrims landed in Massachusetts, and most of them didn't make it through the first winter. I mean, people were dying. People were dying in that weather right in the Foxborough era. But if they'd landed in Buffalo, the mortality rate would have been 100%. I know you couldn't, it's inland. You couldn't have landed it, but let's say they landed in some harbor in New York and then they decided Buffalo is where we're going to settle. That first winter would have killed every one of them. They would not have made it.
They would have migrated south so quickly, like the snowbirds up north anyways do.
Why didn't they do that? How come the Pilgrims weren't the first snow? Were they just tired of moving? Like by the time they got over here, it's I know the weather in Plymouth sucks, but we don't have the energy to go south. Was that what it was?
I'll say that you could have at least gone to Mid-Atlantic. It's not terrible there, like Philly, like Maryland area, DC, Virginia.
Sure.
It's not
some
terrible
crab cakes.
there.
Yeah, it wouldn't be so bad.
Old Bay seasoning. How you doing?
Right. They could have invented that like hundreds of years beforehand. So the other thing about the NFL schedule that I noticed people are up in arms about this, and I'm not exactly sure why. And I'll explain what I mean by that.
One
Trevor.
of the tweets I retweeted because I'm at the point of the schedule releasing. I don't need a show.
What did you? Oh, well, that's no. Is that what you retweeted about the show? The show. I don't watch the show. I'll find the schedules on Twitter or X. I don't need to watch your stupid show.
Yeah, this is my buddy Luke Arcania. He works up in Philly, anyways. He says NFL schedule release day is one of the dumbest days on this app. I don't need each individual game leaked by a different person. Just drop the graphic and let's get it going.
Well, it's clout. Why during the NFL draft do I have some random reporter who tips the pick 28 seconds before Roger Goodell says it? It's clout. It's oh my God, if I can leak this. I'm going to get retweets and now people can monetize their accounts and stuff. Feed me love and money and follow me. That's all it is. It's all about clout. But yeah, just drop the graphic and get it over with. But what I see people complaining about is there's going to be 2 Christmas games that are going to be on Netflix. And, I see people complaining about NFL football on Netflix. First of all, I don't know. I kind of feel like at this point, especially the age of the people complaining about this who are in their 20s to 40s, I feel like at this point, more people have Netflix than have traditional cable channels. If you don't, you probably have your own Netflix account if you're listening to this. And if you don't, you probably use your uncle's password. You have access to it. I don't see and you know what? I'm relieved that this is on Netflix and not on Peacock. The Dolphins had that playoff game on. I didn't have Peacock.
It was on local TV though. It was on local TV if you're in the local area.
But I wasn't in town. I was on a trip then, so okay. I had to go to a sports bar that happened to somehow have Peacock to watch, and I had to watch my team get embarrassed in public, which was way worse. If I could have watched it, at home or in a hotel room, wouldn't have been nearly as embarrassed. I had to go in public wearing a Dan Marino throwback jersey and watch Tua Tagovailoa. Just, he's useless when it's under 55 degrees. Unfortunately, it was way under 55 degrees in that game. But yeah, I mean, I could understand the Peacock complaint because a lot of people don't have Peacock, but I feel like this is my unofficial estimate, but I'm pretty sure I'm right on this. I would estimate, Trevor, 99.9% of the world's population has somebody's Netflix password. Stop complaining.
Yeah.
Enjoy the games.
They probably used that to get the Tom Brady roast too. Also,
yeah, I still haven't watched that.
It's 3 hours.
That's why I have a while. I don't know. Ain't nobody got time for that.
I'm actually gonna carve out time tomorrow, since I'm not working, or Friday. I'm gonna sit myself down and watch a Tom Brady roast. It's on my things to watch on my Netflix account, anyways.
I did hear it was like he had to apologize to Giselle because when you get those comedians, they do not pull any punches, right? They're going to be talking about your wife having the relationship with the jiu-jitsu instructor, and it's going to be embarrassing to people that are around your life. And then Brady had to pretend he had no idea that. I can't believe they made jokes about that. As if you don't know. Like you think Jeff Ross is not going to say something irreverent when he's roasting you on stage? Like you knew.
Sure. It's the biggest. I know I'm not a Tom Brady defender. I know some people are, like Scott Zolak. He says he's sick and tired of Tom Brady complaining about it. He should just take it like a man and just get it moving.
Wow.
Yes.
So Zolak is sick and tired of Brady complaining?
Yeah, he was like, you did the roast. Take your lumps and stop complaining about it, honestly. So I'm team I don't ever side with Scott Zolak. But this is the one time the mega powers of Scott Zolak and Trevor Harris are agreeing. Stop complaining, Tom Brady. Take it in.
That's quite a partnership. Yeah, Stephen Ross and I are worth our combined net worth is like over $16 billion. You know that?
Scott Zolak and I probably under a couple million. I'll say all his money tied to play.
Exactly. That's the point. Let me see. What is Stephen Ross worth? He just turned down allegedly a huge offer to sell the Dolphins. Let me see how much. What's Stephen Ross net worth? Because we all know Google is 100% accurate, of course. All right, net worth is an estimated 10.1 billion.
10.1 billion. He could have got at least 12. Like the next NFL franchise going up for sale will probably go for 12. Like what are the Commandos went like 6 million, 7 million?
6 million, yeah, something like that. But dude, I can remember like when Stephen Ross bought the Dolphins from Wayne Huizenga, which was I want to say that was around 2008. He bought it for just over $1 billion, just over like 1.1 billion. And this was less than 20 years ago, 16 years ago, and that felt like just a like I cannot believe 1.1 billion for a sports team. And now you're talking about NFL franchises being worth north of 10 billion. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like, I don't know how much inflation factors into that, but that's quite an investment. Trevor, if we can pool enough money together to buy an NFL team, we may be able to get like 10 times our investment in 16 years. It's not a bad deal.
Hey, why not? Why not? Or you can just put in a hockey franchise. That's what everybody does now. But
that's true.
Hockey or soccer franchise, since those are going up.
Well, and it seems like the NHL like keeps growing. So then it's like, well, hold on. Like it was one thing when I had one of 30 teams, then one of 30, and now it's going to be like 33, 34 teams in the league. It's like, it's not, doesn't that take away a little bit what your investment is worth? MLS, same thing. Like, but by the year like 2040, MLS, they probably won't be any more popular than they are now, but they'll probably be like 40 teams in the MLS in 20 years.
Where are you going to expand to? There's no other big cities I can think of, honestly.
I mean, they got a team in Salt Lake City. They're not that picky.
Well, that was Dave Checketts. Dave Checketts, you should probably know this. He used to be the president of the Knicks in the Garden, so he's always been loaded. He's big in Utah. That's one of the few big franchises he started up there. And now that Ryan Smith guy has it now, which I think he's a fraud.
Right. So no, I mean, what do they get? They got well, where else does MLS have teams? They got a team like Portland is not a huge I mean, they got an NBA team, but it's not a huge, small market. They got Kansas City. They got a team there. Well, I guess that's a big. What am I saying? That's a big market. I don't know why I try to lump Kansas City.
St. Louis has a soccer team now. Anyway, Chicago.
They got an MLS team.
Chicago, yeah, St. Louis, yeah, they have an MLS team, yeah. Chicago does too. They play it up Soldier Field.
Oh, I knew that. Yeah.
St. Louis has one. They build a new stadium. They'll build a stadium for a soccer team, but not for the Rams. So
that's wild.
Yes, that is wild. Want to know is wild?
All right, well,
want to know is wild? We're gonna be in Hawk and Crowder from 2 to 4. So you might as well not change the dial at all. Am I right, Donno?
Oh, of course not. Don't change the dial ever. Like you should always have a radio or a streaming device or both on in your house on 560 WQAM, unless you're going to take a break from that and watch my excellent podcast, Locked On Canes. And man, one thing, the only thing that surprised me, Trevor, about these past 2 hours is I haven't brought up the Miami Hurricanes one time and the best quarterback in town, Cam Ward. I haven't brought up the Miami Hurricanes even one time. Maybe I'll bring it up during the Hawk and Crowder show because, yeah, I'm going to be on till 4. Josh Appel is going to be taking over from 4 to 6 p.m. So you do want to keep it locked. Do not touch that dial. Do not touch that streaming device. Keep it locked right here to AM 560 Sports WQAM.
That is hot water, baby. Yeah.
Hope you mother have a good day.
The #1 sports adjacent show in America. Hawk and Crowder with Solana and the Great Jimmy.